This is the Buzz Adams Morning Show podcast. Barstool Talk Daily. Except it's really early in the morning and no booze. For the most part.
Hey, it's Daniel Paulus. I'll be along starting at 3 with everything from Aerosmith to Nirvana to Linkin Park. Everything you'll need.
From the KLAQ studios in beautiful sunny El Paso, Texas.
Yeah, baby!
The Buzz Adams Morning Show is back.
Man, is this gonna rock or what?
All right, thank you so much, and good morning. Welcome, everybody, to the show for this Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday, October the 23rd.
Yeah.
And the World Series starts in 2 days.
2 days.
Very classic matchup for the Fall Classic. The Dodgers and the New York Yankees. And Steve's going to be by Talk Sports later today. Good morning, Nico and Jimmy.
What up?
Hey, Nico was here before the show started. It's fantastic.
I mean,
I'm so proud of
yeah.
you.
Now do that.
It's honestly getting old. Just this one joke is getting old. I mean,
For you.
Oh, I'd stop doing it if you showed up on time.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll show up when I show up. But
You'll show up when you show up. Okay. But, hey, thanks for being here.
Sure.
When you showed up today. Very impressive. Now, do that like 1,000 times in a row.
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever.
Good morning, Joanna Barba.
Good morning.
We're going to have a true crime report coming up in about an hour. It's also going to include the Florida Man game today, so we got that. A lot of stuff happening in the news. Not all of it political, but a lot of it. Let me just grab you a couple.
Donald Trump is now claiming that Kamala Harris might have a drug and alcohol problem.
Yeah. I mean, what's going to surprise you, really?
Well,
I don't think anything surprises anybody, even
it's not
his fans or other people.
Because they pick it up, and now Fox News is starting to report this stuff as if, like, well, maybe this could explain some irrational. So let's just make up stuff. Let's just make up stuff about the other person and then repeat it over and over.
That's how gaslighting works.
Yeah. Let's just do that.
I mean,
what's the point of actually reporting anything factual anymore?
Is there any evidence whatsoever, or is it just a slur that he's throwing out?
Come on. Dude, I mean, why would you give any...
Does he specify what... I think maybe she drinks a little on the side.
Why would you give any credence to this? Why would you give any type of oxygen?
I'm asking, is there actionable evidence of what he's saying?
No, it's idiotic talk.
Did he specify which drugs?
You know what? This is the type of BS, dude, that is going to just keep driving it forward in front of people. He was just on stage going, she's so crazy, this lunatic rat. I think she might be doing drugs or alcohol.
I think he might. I mean, seriously, I've been watching him and just how unhinged a lot of
let's
his
just
stuff
say
is.
he has an oxy problem. Let's just make he has a Vicodin problem. You know Donald Trump has a Vicodin problem?
Wait a minute. Did you just make that up?
I don't know. Who knows? It might explain his crazy behavior.
In 2015, he said that he had never taken a drink of alcohol. He'd never even smoked a cigarette. He had never tried any type of drugs. And I guess I believe him. I'm just saying
doesn't say anything about pills. He's a pill popper.
Well, some people don't count that as drugs, I guess. Anyway, just...
Loves the Molly. He loves the Molly. Yeah.
Black tar.
Yeah.
He is a big fan of the black tar heroin.
Donald Trump loves black tar heroin. I hear that all the time.
Okay.
Wait. What's the problem with that? It seems like that's the basis for how we talk about those people now.
You don't get down in the mud to wrestle with a pig.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do.
No.
When that pig is mounting you and effing you in the face, then you...
Wow, you came in all fired up. You were... No wonder you got here early. You
just
were
because I was
anxious.
reading this entire article about... several articles about this. He's claiming...
I can top you.
He is claiming multiple fabrications and misinformation, like illegals can vote. Like specifically in North Carolina, he's talking about like they've got a whole line of illegals. They're voting. Stop them from voting. Republican poll watchers in North Carolina are telling their volunteers to look for people with Latino-sounding names because they are the most suspicious.
Have you voted yet?
I did. I just voted.
You voted? Okay. Wow. I was not expecting you to be...
It's such BS.
Okay, so
the last 2 weeks of this campaign, and it's going to be utter lies and madness.
You remember Vanessa Guillen, the soldier at Fort Hood who was murdered?
Yeah.
So it is being reported by confirmed sources that Donald Trump offered to pay her funeral expenses, and then when the bill came in, he said he wasn't going to pay it because, and I quote, "It doesn't take 60 grand to bury an effing Mexican."
Yep.
And as far as I was listening to Morning Joe on the way in, they said that no one's been able to confirm if he gave him any money. So it was like he consoled the parents who are Mexican, who were born in Mexico. So she's like a first generation American Vanessa Guillen. And said,
tons of stories like that.
John Kelly, his chief of staff, the longest when he was the president, came out and said, no, Trump said many things to me that clearly indicate that he admired Hitler and he would run America if he could, like Adolf Hitler.
In the Atlantic, if you look up the Atlantic story, he's quoted as saying, Donald Trump is quoted as saying, "I wish I had generals like Hitler had."
Oh, I got to read that section of it because John Kelly, who's a Marine general, retired Marine general, is like, "Do you mean like Kaiser Wilhelm soldiers?" And Trump, "No, I don't know who Kaiser Wilhelm is. You mean like," he gave him a couple options. He goes, "No, the good German generals. You know which ones." Clearly making a reference.
But
he said that, Rommel had to commit suicide after a failed assassination attempt on Hitler. Trump didn't know who Rommel was. This all according to John Kelly. I mean, yes, I could sit here and do this all day
I think that's
long.
what everybody should be doing instead of an entire description of him going to McDonald's and basically making fun of an American worker. Like, this is what I could be doing.
I could be working the fries. Look at me.
Like, I got the fryer later on lock.
Also, all the people who went through the drive-thru were Trump supporters.
And they are pre-vetted.
I'm sure they did because of security
Right. Didn't
concerns,
they
but
say
still.
they shut down the entire
The
McDonald's.
entire McDonald's was
for
not
him.
Yes.
Right.
Just so he could do this kind of insulting photo op. I agree. But, I mean, should I do it for all 4 hours? I'm telling you, I could do it from now until my voice gave out.
I'm more upset with, like, in general, it seems like nobody seems to be picking up, and that his mistruths get repeated so often. I don't even...
Kamala doing drugs is low. If it's based on nothing, it's definitely not anything that Ronald Reagan would have done or George W. Bush would have done. Absolutely. But in the same week that he's talking about, I will use the military to go after people like Nancy Pelosi and Liz Cheney.
The enemy within.
That trumps.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know.
That trumps.
It is.
Kamala looks like she's on drugs. It's...
Oh, people see
Some of his crap is more outrageous than others. I'm sorry if you're just tuning in. This is not typically
Good
how we
morning.
start the show.
Yeah,
but,
good morning, sorry.
But Nico was in kind of a pet.
I was. Okay, look, it's the 2 weeks before.
TDS much?
I don't think so. I think he's a legitimate scumbag.
That's what
of a human
Bill
being.
Maher said on Friday. He had Joe Scarborough and other guests on, and he said, for years people have been saying TDS. That's not a bad thing.
It's legitimate.
Right.
If it's legitimate worry.
Yeah, if it's a legitimate worry, and there are plenty of people writing articles. There's one lady, Amy Applebaum, is a journalist who studied Stalin, and she said, yeah, his rhetoric is very much the same, not only as Hitler. People hear Hitler, and a lot of people just, oh, yeah, like he's Hitler. Mussolini.
Any fascist authoritarian who
Mao
believes
Zedong.
that believes
Joseph Stalin.
That believes that we need to. What about the story that
man.
What about the story that North Korean troops are now fighting in Ukraine?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I guess by that.
Well,
I don't know how I would pin that on Trump if that's what we're doing here.
no. Well, I'm not talking about. What I'm talking about is a lot of different rhetoric. But one, people say, we're not in Ukraine. We don't have. They're not part of NATO. We're not allies with them. Why are we supporting any of this? Donald Trump said he would get the war done in 2 days. It would be over. But because he would give it to.
He would just say, "Yeah, Putin, you get what you want. Zelensky, go pound sand."
And people say, "Well, why are we fighting with Russia? Russia is a historic enemy of the United
We've been
States."
lined up against the Russians. There was an entire thing in the 40s and 50s called the Red Scare. And
the
Trump's
Cold War.
mentor was a big part of the Joseph McCarthy movement.
So to see two enemies come together like North Koreans and Russians on a battlefield,
cause for concern.
It should be cause for concern.
Okay, listen. I was just going to mention that Short Round from the Indiana Jones movie is going to be in his first starring role.
Yay!
When I said I had a lot of news to talk about, off the top of my head, I was going to mention that. Ke Huy Quan. Are you doing this in Hollywood news, Joanna?
No.
Okay.
He's the guy that was Short Round in Indiana
Short
Jones in the
Round.
Temple of Doom, but
Hold on to your
Data.
potatoes.
He also was in Everything Everywhere All
Won
at
an
Once.
Oscar for that.
Yeah.
And now he is starring in his own action comedy, Love Hurts, and he plays a mild-mannered realtor with a dark secret. He used to be a deadly assassin. I don't know if he was John Wick level.
Wick.
But, anyway, I just think that's great to see because, he was in these Spielberg movies. He was in The Goonies. He was in Indiana Jones and The Temple of Doom. And then he you didn't see him in anything. People might say, I wonder whatever happened to Short Round. Well, he came back, and his career has really just rocketed since he came back and won an Oscar for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And in the new movie where he plays an assassin, he is reunited with his Goonies co-star, Sean Astin.
Oh.
Joanna wrote an article about the pilot who died in Las Cruces. Right, Joanna?
No.
I thought you did. Okay.
I did not.
Well, we talked about it, I guess.
We did.
Miles Teller paid tribute to that pilot who passed away at the Las Cruces Air Show. So he had helped train for Top Gun 2 some of the pilots. And Miles Teller, one of the stars of the movie, talked about him and had very kind things to say about him.
Yeah.
So here's something I got to get to the bottom of. I'm not usually, too into the, we get all kinds of prep. Some of it's like country music, and if something's really going to jump out at me, okay?
Okay.
Zach Bryan is a country music artist.
He broke up with his girlfriend.
He broke up with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend is referred to multiple times in the story as Brianna Chicken Fry. Brianna Chicken Fry. And I was like,
That can't be real.
well, I was thinking because I'm from Oklahoma, and some of the Indian last names there are, it could be anything. Could her name be Chicken Fry? So I of course went and looked it up. But she says the story is he had been spotted on the celebrity dating app Raya, Raya.
Oh, snap.
And that's how she found out that they were broken up. Brianna Chicken Fry, that is.
Wow.
So
Chicken Fry. It's a family name.
her fifth great grandfather invented chicken fried steak and named it after himself. Okay. Joanna, speaking of the Hollywood Cheesemate, what do you have coming up in about an hour?
I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about entertainment? You seem fired up this morning.
I didn't start this.
You didn't start the fire?
I was blindsided as much as anybody else.
What's wrong with lively discussion?
I don't know. It's like the first break. I think people just want to hear the weather and
all right.
The World Series starts.
Keep the wool over your eyes, sheeple.
All right, okay. All right. Thank you. Joanna, what's coming up in the Hollywood Cheesemate today?
We got a new popcorn bucket.
What movie?
I'll let you know.
Can you bang it?
No, you cannot bang it.
I know about the Gladiator one. Is it that
Okay,
one?
it's the Gladiator one. God, it's called a tease for a reason, Buzz. God.
But they had that like 2 weeks ago. I saw the first pictures of the Gladiator bucket.
Okay, then I don't have that.
Okay, wait a minute. Now I feel like I'm getting some static from you.
Well, if Nico can be fired up this morning, so can I.
No, we can't all be fired up. Somebody has to remain grounded. You guys, if you get fired up, I've got to sit here and be the anchor, the rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah.
God. All right, so we're going to have that coming up in Joanna's Hollywood Cheese May report, and that's on the way in about an hour. I mentioned that we're also going to have a true crime report. We're going to see how, if we can continue at this level or not. And we'll come back and have Today in Sound Clips for you on the way right after this.
Daily calendar.
Today, October 23rd.
Hey, you people. Today we celebrate Crocs. It's National Croc Day for the ugly shoes you love to hate. Launched at the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. It's National iPod Day for the thing that revolutionized the music industry. But if you have one now, you're just ironic. It's Slap Your Coworker Day, to be followed by Slap You with a Lawsuit Day. And it's Boston Cream Pie Day for a cake from Boston. What?
And that's your daily calendar.
Hey, it's Daniel Paulus. I'll be along starting at 3 with everything from Aerosmith to Nirvana to...
For 30 years, you'll all love what you find only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Broadcasting in El Paso to El Paso. The Buzz Adams Morning Show on 95.5 KLAQ.
The forecast for the week hasn't changed. No rain in the forecast, including through the weekend. Highs are going to be in the upper 80s, maybe near 90. And put it on repeat because that's the forecast for the next several days. Light winds, perfect Gulf weather. And we're about to get into Today in Sound Clips. Should I play a few calls? I thought people were going to be... I thought we would be inundated with calls, and we had quite a few.
Nobody cares anymore. People are just ready for this election to be over with.
Yeah, of course. I think everybody wants this in the rearview mirror, and that we can move on to the next challenge that we face.
Hey, you guys are saying about Donald Trump saying that he wanted generals like Hitler had. But the reason why he said that is because he's tired of all the Boston assassination attempts. I mean, his generals tried to kill him and stuff. That's why. He's all like, I want generals like that. I'm tired of all the Boston assassination attempts. And also, Trump takes pills.
I wasn't sure if this guy was being serious or not until about 2/3 of the way through.
Right.
She's drunk, Nico.
Oh, this guy.
She's drunk and she's on downers. That's why she took a day off yesterday, because she had to recover from a massive hangover.
So this is Cucker, right?
Right.
Oh, Cucker. The story for 2 weeks has been that Donald Trump is canceling appearances left and right.
He's so old and tired.
He canceled an appearance to the NRA. He won't find a friendlier audience anywhere than the National Rifle Association. I could understand if he's jumping around guns right now. And what do you base this on, that she's drunk?
Yeah.
Based on, she looks drunk to me. Or Trump said it, so I believe it. What's your evidence?
Trump does black tar heroin.
So, yeah, drunk Kamala. And I'm glad you're finally getting upset about stuff being misreported like you've been doing for the past 8 years. I'm glad you're triggered, buddy. You must be paying attention to the polls. Have a good day. Bye.
No, polls of any. If you want to go by polls, Cucker, Kamala is edging in certain polls and tied into the other ones. There's nothing that Donald Trump's not leading in any polls.
I saw a poll this morning. I think they're downplaying any advances in the polls. I think the Harris campaign is minimizing that because they don't want people doing what they did in 2016 was, Hillary's obviously got to win, so I'm not going to go vote.
Right.
I think that's a scenario. Boy, do you think we could get somebody like Cucker to commit to talking to us live the day after the election?
No, Cucker's scared.
Yeah, right.
Cucker's
That's
one of
why
these
we call him Cucker, because he won't identify himself by name. He won't talk directly to you. He only calls in and says these ridiculous things
with his little voice. Like,
he's drunk.
But do you remember that one time we because we can see the phone number?
Oh yeah,
and the name
until he blocked it. I was like, oh,
yeah, there's Cucker. Yeah,
I could look this guy up on Facebook, and I did. And dude, get some friends.
Yeah, he seems real.
All of your pictures
sad.
are you in Packers gear alone. Like you had to ask a stranger to take the picture of you. I mean, there's no picture of anybody else. It's just all MAGA and
my
Green
point
Bay
is
Packers
that when you brought that up on air, when you mentioned like,
he immediately blocked it.
and he's like, you know what? That is very serious to threaten somebody's privacy on air.
Really?
It's like,
really?
Okay,
Mr. Anonymous Jackass.
Yeah, right. Also, Joanna, I brought something for you. I brought you a present.
Nice.
I brought you
presents.
a crock ring.
You got me a crock ring?
Yeah.
How sweet.
Today is National Crock Day.
Is it?
Today is National Crock Day, absolutely.
And that's why I brought my crock ring.
Thank you so much for the crock ring.
Find that clip of the mom, okay? From yesterday.
The what?
The clip of the mom.
Oh, yeah,
nice to see you all again.
Ooh, mom. It's time for Today in Sound Clips, all of the day's news with accompanying sound bites and actualities.
The news one?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, man. What the hell am I doing?
We were all just mesmerized by the crock
Today
ring.
in Sound Clips.
Is that what you imagined a crock ring would look like?
No.
Have you
I
ever
didn't
seen
know.
one before?
No, I had not.
Not at like the dirty movie place?
Or Spencer's.
A busy political day yesterday, so let's take a little bit of this. Vice President Kamala Harris was asked during her interview with NBC News yesterday if she and her team were making plans for what to do or how to respond if former President Donald Trump refuses to admit a loss in the upcoming election.
Of course. This is a person, Donald Trump, who tried to undo a free and fair election, who still denies the will of the people, who incited a violent mob to attack the United States Capitol, and 140 law enforcement officers were attacked.
I mean, look, I know Trump is trying to say she's dumb and she can barely string a sentence together, but that's projection. I mean, when she talks, she sounds like an intelligent woman to me. I mean, she can be concise in her thoughts, and
she'll be a more than capable leader. And I trust most of the people that we have elected to high offices in this country
to at least have a baseline of
decorum,
love of country.
Even Ron DeSantis probably would be a fine.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis wouldn't try and stay if he lost an election.
No, probably not.
I don't think J.D. Vance would.
I mean, they might do the cursory, like, all right, we're going to have our lawyers look at it, but then they'll eventually...
They're not going to still be saying it 4 years later,
right?
5 years later. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was also in Battleground State, and he took a jab at Trump's running mate, but it's not who you think.
Well, look, I'm not going to waste all the time I'm in. I'm going to talk about his running mate. His running mate, Elon Musk.
Seriously. Supposedly, Elon mentioned in an interview this weekend that there has been talk of a position for him at the White House.
Yeah. Trump said he was going to hire him to lay off like 60% of the federal government workforce. Speaking of Senator J.D. Vance, boy, I can't wait to hear this one out loud. Just from the description, J.D. Vance said the biggest ideas come from people who just follow the truth.
The biggest ideas come from people who just follow the truth, right? And
that was a good one, JD. That was a good one.
Oh, man. Okay, let me start it from the beginning. This is a man who wants to be your vice president.
Ideas come from people who just follow the truth, right? And yeah, sometimes they're going to be wrong. Sometimes they're not going to get everything right. But we've got to stop punishing people like Bobby Kennedy for saying, well, maybe
hey, what about
this
that?
isn't working. Yeah, hey, what about that? Exactly.
Come on, man. Bobby Kennedy is who they go to. Look, we have a sane element in our ticket. Bobby Kennedy.
What world do we live in where Bobby Kennedy represents the truth?
Right. Possibly the most dangerous science denier of the last 30 years. Bobby Kennedy.
He said that with a straight face.
A straight but very pudgy face. I got to hear the whole thing. I'm sorry. That is so funny. I got to hear all that again.
The biggest ideas come from people who just follow the truth, right? And yeah, sometimes they're going to be wrong. Sometimes they're not going to get everything right.
That's not true.
But we've got to stop punishing people like Bobby Kennedy for saying, well, maybe
hey, what about
this
that?
isn't working. Yeah, hey, what about that? Exactly.
God. I needed that, man. Thank you. As we continue the busy day for candidates, former President Barack Obama has been out stumping for Kamala Harris, and he has gotten more and more aggressive with his criticisms of the former president, his successor, Donald J. Trump.
I don't understand how we got so toxic and just so divided and so bitter, and I get why sometimes people just don't want to pay attention to it.
Former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard announced yesterday that she's joining the Republican Party. All right.
Because of the leadership that President Trump has brought to transform the Republican Party and bring it back to the party of the people and the party of peace. But I'm proud to stand here with you today, President Trump, and announce that I'm joining the Republican Party.
You mean
that has to be the most unfortunate timing ever?
Pro-Putin Tulsi Gabbard.
Right. You're joining the Soviet Politburo in 1990.
Yeah. You will get the Star of Lenin.
It's like joining the Nazi Party after the Nuremberg trials have already started. What a dolt.
I know they did some stuff, but they've got a message I believe in.
Oh, my God. Now let's hear from the Republican candidate who said that he would make interest on loans for American-built cars tax deductible.
I will make interest on car loans fully tax deductible because affording a car is essential to restoring the American.
Okay.
How are you going to do that, Donald, if you're going to have a 100% tariff on all imports?
Oh, he says that any foreign company can get out of the tariffs by moving their operations to the United States. So if you're a Japanese car maker, if you move your production to Indiana or Michigan or someplace in the United States, you don't have to pay the tariff.
Because it wouldn't be a tariff on imports then. You wouldn't be importing anything. Is he just saying all imports, all things that import, all the things that we import need to now be made here in the United States?
Economists disagree on a lot of things, and sometimes it really seems like it's hard to make sense of economists, but professional economists, one thing they almost all agree on, they don't agree on everything, but one thing they agree on is that tariffs will be bad for the United States.
Wall Street Journal has a very interesting analysis of both the candidates' economic plans, and they said Donald Trump's economic plan would burst the deficit and spiral us into a recession. So I don't know why anybody would say that they trust Donald Trump on economics.
We got to take a break. There's an E. coli outbreak that is affecting, maybe one of your favorite fast food restaurants. I'll tell you about that. And LeBron and his son Bronny finally did it. They appeared on a court together in a regular season NBA basketball game.
You have thoughts on this?
Nepo. If he wasn't the son of LeBron James at this point in his career, he would not be playing for an NBA team.
Now you're using Nepo as a slur.
Yeah, this is one that really gets me. He actually used his parental power and the authority and his reputation in the league to lean on the Lakers enough to sign his son, who is clearly at this point in his career, and he had some real health concerns a couple of years ago. His son. The only reason he's there is because you're LeBron's son. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with more of our Today in Sound clips. We're also going to have a preview of the World Series, which gets started in a couple of minutes. All right, more of the Buzz Adams Morning Show is on the way right after this.
Find out what's going on. Quirky facts about our region. Urgent things you need to know impacting your drive. And of course, nothing but El Paso's best rock.
Potential. Visit Western and enroll today. Don't give up. Rise up at Western Tech. College for the real world.
Live from the KLAQ studios, the Buzz Adams Morning Show. Courtesy of Glasheen, Vyas, and Inderman Personal Injury Lawyers at GVILaw.com.
All right, we're going to have a couple more news clips for you. Joanna's got the Hollywood Cheese-May coming up in about 30 minutes, and there's a true crime report in there. And what else in the 7 o'clock hour?
And Justin Underwood.
Attorney Justin Underwood, Ask a Lawyer with Attorney Justin Underwood, coming up at around 7:30 this morning. So this was an interview that was printed in the El Paso Times on October 4th.
A great interview. Really, really good. Did you read the whole thing?
I did, but there's one thing that jumped out at me. So this is an interview with Bill Hicks, the incumbent district attorney in El Paso, appointed by Greg Abbott. And we've had Bill Hicks on plenty of times. I mean, I will tell you that I think not just him single-handedly, but under his leadership, they really turned the district attorney's office around in a very, very needed way.
Well, and you know what's interesting about the interview? It's a long interview. But
you read the whole thing, and there wasn't something that just jumped right out at you. I think people kind of glanced over this or glossed over it.
Well, so the thing that stood out to me was how he didn't take, these big victory. Like, he could have been stomping on former DA Rosales and saying things like, it's a victory. We've turned it all around. But he said things like, we have long-term goals, short-term goals, that there are things that are still needing to be fixed and worked out, but that things look like they're in the right direction. I just like the steadiness that he seems to display.
Okay. Well,
what's
trying to find here? It is a long.
Was it the thing that Kevin said, number 4 on that list of things he wants to do?
Yeah.
Just go up. He has a list of 4 things that are his priority right
there. Number 4, I have a long list of Project 2025 programs
now,
that I'm looking forward to putting in place. Which ones?
No. You're misreading it.
I have a long list of Project 2025 programs that I am looking forward to putting in place, is the quote.
Okay, but you're implying it as if he is talking about the Republican thing known as Project 2025.
What else would he be referring to?
I think he was just speaking as the year 2025 and what he plans to accomplish in that year.
You sound like an insane person. We need some clarification.
No, because
Bill Hicks,
you have to look at the things that he brings up in the next. Why would you not read for context? In the thing, what, did you read number 4? None of the thing in number 4 says anything about Project 2025.
All right. Well, that's not clearly apparent, and the fact that nobody's brought it up means that
Wait, but you looked at me like I was dumb. I read the article.
A long list of Project 2025
Now read
programs.
all the things in it in the now read the programs.
The past 2 years have been so much about putting out fires and trying to establish order and protocols. It's truly amazing how 2 years of the Rosales administration. Yeah, he never dunks on her, but it's amazing how 2 years of the Rosales administration derailed so many accountability measures and administrative checks in the process. We have taken the liberty of trying to. Then I would love to hear from
in the process. We have taken the liberty of trying our best to improve the well-designed. Nothing about any Republican 2025 program.
It says here, did El Paso Times take him out of context? Did he not know what Project 2025
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think he misspoke.
Well, the district attorney
he just had the wrong choice of words.
Yes, that's exactly what I think.
Then I would love, if that's the case, for the district attorney, because Project 2025 has some very scary things in it that they are wanting to do if Donald Trump's reelected.
It does, but he speaks to none of those programs.
You know who you sound like? You sound like one of these people going on the talk shows and explaining what he really
You have it right there.
I have a long list of Project 2025
and
programs.
then he goes into the programs, and none of them are 20. What are you talking about, Buzz? I'm the only one who's reading the entire thing.
Did you read the whole thing after that, Buzz?
Yes. All he does is say, we've been putting out fires because of the
And then he
crappy
goes on, in the process, we've taken the liberty of trying our best to improve the old design. That's the thing. We are finally getting to the point where we can start looking outward and not just at the issues internally. I'm looking forward to many possibilities of how to make our community a stronger and safer place.
You just knuckle down when what you're saying doesn't make sense, right?
What? You think he's talking about the Republican 2025?
What else could he be talking about? The Democrats bring it up every chance they get. How could he not be aware
because
of what
that's a national program. This is an inner city.
Okay,
what are you talking about?
It would be called 2025 because that's when Donald Trump would retake office. He is the incumbent.
And
it's a very okay.
Bill Hicks would be the district attorney in 2025.
He's the district attorney in 2024. Why would he use language like "I have a long list of Project 2025"?
He's not the elected. He's the interim.
Interim?
Interim or interim, whatever you want to say it.
Does Bill Hicks, the district attorney of El Paso, think that there are some good things in Project 2025 that he's looking forward to implementing? I just am asking for some clarification.
That would be fine. That would be a good question. I don't think he was speaking to any of those things.
He has an opponent. I am willing to have both DA Bill Hicks and his.
You know what?
His,
I don't think you read.
Republican.
I don't think you read this article.
Well, dude, it's like 15, 20 pages long.
So why did you say you read it?
I read that section.
So you lied about your understanding.
You got to read the whole thing,
so
buddy.
You know what he actually talks about?
What you guys are talking
You know what he
about.
talks about as one of his biggest priorities is putting together the domestic abuse unit that he used to have, and he talks about getting the funding and all. Like he has some interesting plans together, and you're not focusing on any of those. You're focusing on a stupid 2 words that does about a national program that has no applicability to our little city here.
You both
it would be enough
have good points.
If he doesn't disavow this, it would be enough reason for me not to vote for him. You know, I really respect Bill Hicks, but if he's like, yeah, I'm all on board for Project 2025.
Was there anything in the rest of the article that gave you pause, or did he speak to 2025 programs anywhere else in the article?
I'm focusing on the thing that is concerning the most.
The 2 words, but
all right. Well, listen.
2 words can be confused as like, hey, we have Project Celebration, we have Project 2025. What? I don't think it's a hard mistake to make.
Listen, you can read the tea leaves here, or we could have Bill Hicks on the show if he accepts, and he can explain. You know, that I really stuck my foot in it on this one.
But you didn't even go through any of the other priorities. Number 1 was he wants to make sure that the Walmart shooting case gets adjudicated. He talks about the domestic abuse.
None of that's concerning to me. That all sounds like things that you would expect any district.
He doesn't talk about any concerning things other than the fact that you said the 2 words, Project 2025.
I didn't say them. He said them. Do you think this is... Yeah, it's what Kevin sent. He highlighted the part that I was supposed to refer to.
Wait, what were you going to ask, Joanna?
Do you think that this could... Are you trying to cover up or trying to...
I read the article, dude. He didn't speak about any 2025 project.
Except when he did.
No, he didn't.
I have a number of Project 2025.
What?
I'm reading the...
All you're saying, you're reading 2 words. That's it.
Okay, stop.
Wait, but...
Jesus, I don't need to hear from you. Bill Hicks lives in this town. Somebody's probably already told him by now. They're talking about...
I'm just saying, if you were a better media person, you would have...
Shut the up.
You would have read the article, and you would have figured out that he doesn't mention or speak to any program that is concerning.
Yeah, no, the concerning part is when they mention, and then that the interviewer with the Times didn't follow up on that. Well, which 2025 projects? Which Project 2025 policies are you talking about? It's as simple as that. It's in print.
Again, he didn't speak about any concerning project in the rest of the interview. He talked about other stuff, local
and
issues.
When I scanned it and I looked at a few sentences, everything else seems to be in order. But I am concerned about this Project 2025 business.
About the 2 words that I mentioned, sure. That is concerning. Let's get the clarification.
Bring up very good points.
But, I mean, as a good context reader, you just need to know.
Look, it's on page 10, policy 4. You think I'm gonna? I can't sit there and read something.
If you were a good media,
no, I'm not. Then I have to prioritize on some level.
You guys are making my eye twitch this morning.
Are you all right?
No.
No, Nico.
Are you all right?
The World Series gets underway on Sunday. The first game is between the Yankees and the Dodgers Friday night. Some people are saying they don't like that it's the Yankees and the Dodgers, but this is a classic matchup. When I was a kid, like in the 70s, it was the Dodgers and the Yankees were obviously the two major powerhouses in baseball, or at least that was my perception as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And when they'd get together and play at a World Series, which they haven't done since 1981, the Yankees have not faced the Dodgers in a World Series since 1981. That's a great matchup. So this song does not reflect my personal appearance. I'm really looking forward to the series getting started on Friday.
New York Yankees went to town hoping for some cheeros, but to all the Dodgers fans they're nothing but some zeros. Yankee team you love to hate, LA is the same thing. World Series back and forth and TV loves the ratings.
Hey, it's Double G. Coming up after the Buzz Adams Morning Show.
Use your phone in Mexico like 2 countries, 1 network. Only with AT&T. Visit att.com/one network for details.
The Buzz Adams Morning Show, Monday through Friday, 5 to 10. KLAQ and KLAQ HD1, El Paso, a town square media station.
That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the beast.
The True Crime Report, actual crime stories from around the world and across the nation. Our first story comes from Tennessee, a police officer in Tennessee.
You're the only 10 I see.
Waiting for it. I was waiting for that.
That's nice.
Police officer was caught stealing from Crime Stoppers. And the way that this went down, it's going to make you wonder, oh, yeah, I can see how that would be super tempting. A police officer in Tennessee was caught stealing from, get this, Crime Stoppers.
Yeah.
This puts out rewards for any information.
For people who are criminals.
The officer, Erica Hutchinson, reportedly stole more than $18,000 between August of last year and February of this year, so just a few months.
She's like, I'm stopping these crimes. I deserve it.
Her job, when you hear what her job was, I mean, it's kind of like taking candy from a baby, really.
What was her job?
Her job was to sort through the Crime Stoppers database and send pertinent tips to investigators. Then, when helpful tips qualified for rewards, she'd make sure the payment went through.
Would she just take the reward?
She would just take the reward.
That's awful. Hey, nice tip.
She had an accomplice, and before sending out the payment, she would switch the destination for the reward to her accomplice's bank account, and they would split the stolen money. Now, it would be awesome if she was caught by a Crime Stoppers tip, wouldn't it?
Right.
But that was not the case.
They probably were. She just stopped them all when they were coming in.
Tipsters started notifying authorities that their reward had not arrived. And officials did not have much trouble proving who was responsible because all of the changes in the database were tracked and recorded. They could see that Officer Erica had been rerouting the money to a different account. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 6 months in prison, plus 2 years supervised release. She also has to pay $22,000 in restitution. And this is interesting. She resigned. Seems like that would be a fireable offense to me. But,
Yeah, why would you?
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
Is that a Saturday Night Live thing?
No. It's a Alanis Morissette thing, dude.
A little too ironic.
It's like rain on your wedding day.
Oh, this is the Dave Coulier song.
No,
Yeah,
no, it's not.
No, yeah, it's not. No,
That's a different song.
That's
That's a more hateful song. That's a more angry, hateful song.
You ought to know.
Yep, there we go, Dave Coulier. Uncle Joey, man. Uncle Joey seemed like such a nice guy.
All right, this is an ironic story. A state-of-the-art fire station in Germany burned to the ground.
Sorry, that is ironic.
No, we haven't gotten to the real ironic part yet. A 10-month-old state-of-the-art modern fire station in Germany burned all the way to the ground. The investigation found that there were not any smoke detectors installed in the brand new fire station.
We don't need them. We got this.
The city made the decision not to install fire alarms in the station.
They don't need them.
And apparently there's no code that requires that fire stations have smoke detectors or fire alarms.
What fire could ever start here?
The story says the city figured it would be okay since there are firefighters 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I wonder how the fire started.
Yeah. Well, where was the firefighter that was around for that one?
They were out on call.
That's a human smoke detector right there. They don't need to install one when you got human smoke detectors that are supposed to be around.
Fritz, do you smell smoke?
Nah.
I see nothing. I smell nothing.
Oh gosh, there's some bad jokes that are just itching.
The fire inspector was reportedly extremely upset and told the media, "This is every firefighter's nightmare. No one ever wants to have to put out their own fire station." But they did. It burned out of control. Thankfully, no one was injured, maybe because nobody was fighting the fire.
Yeah.
What were they doing?
They're probably out on a call.
Just smoking cigarettes on the side?
By a bucket of oily rags.
It
was a near total loss.
Half of the firefighters don't go on all the firefighters generally go on the calls.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody there.
There should be somebody there, because what if you get two calls at the same time?
Yeah.
But then another station gets dispatched. Because they need to send out the fire engine and the ambulance at the same time.
170 firefighters fought the blaze, but to little to no avail. It was a near total loss. Damages exceed $22 million. A Cincinnati shoe store was burglarized last week, and the thieves stole 100 right shoes only. I don't know why that strikes me as funny.
I want there to be like a one-legged person who's just stealing all these shoes.
Right.
Or getting off on the wrong foot.
Let's hear from the... I gotta go back to my sound clips. I'm still coming off vacation, guys.
It's a lot harder than it looks, guys. All right?
The owner of the store has a few theories on what might have been going on when 100 right shoes were stolen from his store.
We probably had between 60 to 80 pairs of used on here roughly. I'm going to just close. I was done with it. After this break-in, I was like, I'm done. I just want to close. It seems that they might have been drunk and just came in here on a whim, but I really don't know. Realized that they took almost every other shoe to a lot of the pairs that were on the wall.
You have a sense of forgiveness for these people.
I've been moving closer, to God, and could be mad every day, and I'm still upset, but I don't want to carry more hate in my heart.
Okay, that is store owner Hunter Imhai, the owner of,
guys,
Soul Bros Shoe Store.
Is it really called Soul Bros?
SOLE.
That's kind of cool.
I would say I would let this guy know that it was all right. Huh?
Hey!
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was cooking that one up.
Do you know what's still in the store? Whatever's left.
Yeah. I like that.
Improv.
We got this. We can take this show on the road.
A woman in North Dakota was sentenced to 25 years after poisoning her boyfriend.
Oh, no.
She, the woman, mistakenly believed he had inherited $30 million and planned to break up with her. He had not inherited $30 million.
Wait, so she thought she was going to get rich off of this boyfriend who was going to inherit all this money. Turns out he's not inheriting any money.
Ina Kenoyer is the woman, and she was convicted for the murder of Stephen Riley Jr., her boyfriend, died last year for being poisoned with antifreeze. So, Jenny, I'm sorry, there actually is a death story in today's true crime.
Just nothing but murder and death this morning.
Here is a North Dakota officer explaining what happened.
We had received phone calls from some of the victim's friends who told us they believed that he was possibly poisoned by Ina. There were a couple containers. One was a Windex bottle. The other one was a beer bottle, believed to have antifreeze in them. There was a belief that if he wasn't in the picture, she would be entitled to any settlement money through that common law marriage. That kind of changed as the investigators informed her that we don't have common law marriage in North Dakota.
She's like, oh, shucks. Like that, to go through all that struggle, like murdering your boyfriend that doesn't even like pan out the way you wanted to.
Killed the dude.
Yeah. You killed him for no reason at that point.
Well, I mean...
Well, like at least you could have gotten the money. You're going to go through all that trouble to be antifreeze.
When you have to look at a silver lining for murder.
You know those when you just have a bad day when you accidentally.
When you just want to look on the bright side of death.
All right, I got a couple Florida man stories here. The first one is not Florida man game, but we'll make the next one the Florida man game.
All right, cool.
A Florida man is accused
or woman.
It could be, yeah.
A human.
A Florida human is accused of trying to steal a generator that was powering a stoplight. The stoplight wasn't working because of the damage from Hurricane Milton.
Yeah, douchey move, bro.
Soyal Zapata Dai is the gentleman's name, and here is the moment. The police showed up at his house and pretty much had the goods on him, but he had a handy excuse when he found out he was busted.
Hey, how you doing?
You're good. That's good.
Good. Yeah. Can you step out for us?
I'd rather not. I'm fixing dinner right now. What's going on? What's going on? What? You're just being detained real quick, buddy, okay? Some people might have witnessed you doing some things that we shouldn't have done, okay? There's a generator on 674 that I saw that had no lock on it and it had no name on it, so I thought someone set it out.
Sometimes you see a couch on the side of the road. It's obviously somebody giving a couch away. Right. I thought it was the same thing with the generator.
And nobody put their name on it. Everybody puts their name on a generator.
Right. Nobody had their name on it. I thought somebody left it out for the taking.
Finders keepers.
You ready for the Florida man game?
Yeah.
Everybody gets to play today.
Who runs naked through a dairy farm? Florida man, Florida man. Who never fears any bodily harm? Florida man, Florida man. Who's made love to a dozen trees? Throws tennis balls that are full of bees. Who tries to bite every cop he sees? Florida man, Florida man.
The Florida man game, I'm going to give you a true crime story that involves a Florida man or woman, and you try and fill in the missing word. What's going on, dude? Where are you going?
Oh, he's getting a pen. He's getting a pen.
Okay, you're right, because you have to write your answer down. That's one of the rules of the Florida man game. So it's a headline with one word or very short phrase deleted. You got to fill in the blank, okay? Florida man story, here goes. Florida man threatened police with a flamethrower and a blank. Again.
Okay.
Florida man threatened police with a flamethrower and a blank.
All right.
No, Jenny, you can't just write a dong, okay? You can't just draw a picture of a dong.
That's what I did. That's my first answer.
This is like Celebrity Jeopardy when Norm Macdonald used to play.
And she's
Burt Reynolds.
She's Sean Connery. Yeah.
I drew a wiener.
Like I gave to your mother last night, Trebek. Joanna, have you rung in yet?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. Nico?
Can you do the thing one more time?
Sure. Florida man threatened police with a flamethrower and a blank. All right, let's go to Joanna first of all. She has her answer ready. Joanna?
Yes, I went with Old Faithful. Alligator.
Alligator. Is the answer alligator? We'll find out in a minute.
Well, I'm crossing out crocodile.
Jenny?
Underneath the wiener, I wrote hairspray.
Hairspray. Like a flamethrower
that's what I think.
Like when you would get a lighter and hairspray.
Yeah.
I've seen him pull that trick in movies, like lots of action movies.
Yeah.
With a flamethrower, I don't think you need the hairspray. I think the flamethrower would kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's the answer or not.
It's kind of self-contained.
You know what I mean? It's like, I got this flamethrower. Somebody hand me some Aquanet, and I can do some damage. Those krauts will get what they finally have coming to them.
All right.
Aquanet is hairspray?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was cologne. I thought it was cologne.
No, it's like...
I've been using it wrong all these years.
Yeah.
It's like what my mom used in the 70s.
Well, I've never had a need for hairspray, to be honest.
Nico.
You only laugh at my ball jokes about myself.
Yeah, right. I like self-defecating humor.
All right, I say flamethrower and gun.
All right, let's find out if we have any winners. We do not.
Rigged, I tell you.
Not even alligator?
Nope.
This is rigged.
No gator was involved in this.
Mike Pence is a traitor.
Police in Florida were called to a report of an explosion and smoke. This happened Monday of last week. When the police in Florida arrived, they encountered a 39-year-old man named Joseph Morton. Joseph was yelling at the police from his backyard. All right.
Sounds about right. That's a Florida man.
Morton came out front armed with a handheld flamethrower and pointed that at police. Police had their guns drawn, and Morton would not put down the flamethrower when instructed, I guess. He was so close to them that one of the cops just reached out and yanked the flamethrower away from him. So, fortunately, nobody was hurt. He retreated to his house, and when he came back, he tried to blind the officer with a flashlight. So the correct answer would have been a flamethrower and a flashlight.
Oh, yeah? Well, take this. Flashlight in the eyes. How uncomfortable is that? Take that.
Apparently, he didn't try to hit him like as a blunt instrument. He tried to shine it in his eyes.
Take the corneal scratching.
It's real annoying, isn't it? Take this. Real annoying.
I was
Mr.
thinking
Morton was tased at this point.
That's so ridiculous. Like, stop flashing a flashlight as we're going to tase you now.
Yeah, but the whole flamethrower thing was still pretty fresh. You know,
but you tase at the flamethrower. You don't tase at the flashlight.
I think they were kind of, done with this guy at this point,
That's what I think they're just annoyed with
apparently
Morton was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, the flamethrower, and maybe the flashlight, and resisting an officer. So
I apparently was thinking of Aquavelva. Not
Aquanet.
That's old man. That's old man.
Oh, yeah.
That's somebody's Theo is wearing that right now.
Well,
I think my dad might have had some Aquavelva, but if I really need to smell good, I went for the English leather. English leather. It was a cologne.
Called English leather.
English
Back in the
leather.
1920s, that took the English.
No, they still make English leather
with the
for
wooden
sure.
cap. They definitely still make it. You can get it at Target, Walmart, Jewel-Osco, Kmart.
No. Back in the day, Buzz would just use juniper leaves.
That's forage. He'd forage them
for berries just to make his own.
Make my own what?
Cologne.
We're saying you're old, but it's not coming off great.
Do you know what? Do you know what a major component of a lot of different perfumes and colognes
was
is?
it Antifreeze? No, it was antifreeze. No, it was the whales thing. The Angris?
Whale vomit.
Yeah, whale vomit. Angris.
Ambergris.
Ambergris is a thing that's sometimes found, and it has been thrown up by whales. And for some reason, that is just goes to way more fragrances than you would probably want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is the Florida Man game. No winner today. Nobody gets the $10,000 prize. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Plays baseball with a feral cat.
Florida man.
Tried to stab his boss
with a sewer rat. Florida man.
Who snorts crank and screams in the street. Whose favorite food is
Human meat.
Who gave Marco
Rubio a Senate seat.
Florida man.
Artist interviews, new music discoveries, celebrating artists' birthdays, commemorating releases, champion of all things rock.
33 early voting. You can choose the location most convenient for you. Vote early. Visit epcountyvotes.com.
Oh, we're back. Hey. Buzz is back.
Hey, right on, Buzz.
Buzz in the Morning Show, 95.5 The Q.
Attorney Justin Underwood is going to be here this hour. He'll be taking your calls. It's another segment of Ask a Lawyer with Justin Underwood of the law offices of Wyatt Underwood and Associates Trial Attorneys. We can ask him about this. I don't want to I don't want to pick at this scab, but the interview that Bill Hicks did with the El Paso Times, where, everything about it is like, that sounds like a responsible thing to do. That sounds really good. There's one thing where he says one of his priorities is implementing certain Project 2025 policies.
Well, no. You would have to give the quote. He was talking about, I have a lot of 2025 projects, or I have a lot of Project 2025. Here's what I want to do for my Project 2025. Anyways, I don't know his mind. I'm almost certain he was not speaking about the Republican transition plan for Donald Trump, which is by the Heritage Foundation, called Project 2025.
Okay. Now, that is...
Down.
Number 4. I have a long list. This was in answer to the question, what are your top 3 priorities?
Why don't you read all the first 3?
Really?
Yeah,
man?
Give context for stuff.
To get the Walmart case to trial, I believe that our community will truly heal.
Just read the top line.
Okay. To get the Walmart case to trial. Number 2, to see the personnel issues through to stability. Absolutely. Number 3, I am looking forward to reestablishing the domestic violence unit. Great. Number 4, I have a long list of Project 2025 programs. Project 2025 has kind of become like the boogeyman to Democrats or liberals,
right?
Or Republicans who aren't.
Well, it's a radical vision for the country.
It's a Christian nationalist policy. They want to do away with the Federal Reserve. I mean, there are a lot of things in here that make one question, wait a minute, what do you think when you say Project 2025, what are you talking about?
Right. And I was saying earlier.
And Justin knows Bill better than we do.
But if you read any of the article, he gives no indication of any proclivity for the type of issues.
That's why
in Project
I think
2025.
that more than anybody else, District Attorney Bill Hicks would probably like to clarify that.
Maybe he thinks he doesn't even need to, because Project 2025 is a presidential transition project, and it doesn't have anything to do with local ordinances. So let me just give you a quick example of here are the things that are in the 2025 Project 2025.
All right, I'll ring a bell if I agree with any of them.
All right, it's critical of the Federal Reserve, and it thinks it needs to be abolished.
Nope, I don't agree with that.
Also, a district attorney could not abolish the Federal Reserve, so it definitely wouldn't do anything. That they have a problem with the income tax and want to get rid of that and move to a consumption tax, such as a national sales tax. Of course, the person with a huge income.
I'm actually for that one.
So it aims to reduce again, none of the things that a district attorney could do. It aims to reduce the corporate tax rate from 21% to 18%.
I would just give it one ring. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that.
It suggests abolishing the Economic Development Administration of the Department of Commerce.
I don't know what that means.
The project declares that God ordained the Sabbath as a day of rest and recommends legislation requiring that Americans be paid more for working on Sunday.
Sorry, Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A employees.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any of that sweet overtime.
Also,
by the way, the Sabbath in the Bible was Saturday.
Right. It's only in Christian nationalism that it's...
Even in the lifetime of Christ, the Sabbath was definitely Saturday.
Well, no, I'm saying, but like, the only people who think of Sunday as the Sabbath would be... Who would think of that?
Christians.
Catholics, Christians.
Who haven't stopped and thought it through. When Jesus observed the Sabbath in the Bible, it was Saturday.
So that's not something Bill Hicks could do. But
that is funny that the 2020, you got to make, God said Sunday's the
day of rest, so let's pay people more for working. It says that food assistance needs to be eliminated, like SNAP.
Don't know. I definitely, anything like that should definitely be.
You mean the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program? You don't know if it should be scrapped or not? You don't think that
any policy
low income people deserve food?
I think that probably with a lot of entitlements and government programs, there's probably fraud that goes on. I would like to see them make sure that there's no fraud going on and the money goes not to Brett Favre, but to the people who need it most.
Sure. So you can say that there may be...
Yeah, you might have to cut back some SNAP if it seems like, well, somebody's double dipping or this isn't exactly right. Just do things the right way. So I don't completely disagree with it. Who would have thought? I'm about 50-50 on Project 2025.
Major concern.
Are you
Project
surprised by that?
No. You're a Republican. No, I'm not surprised by that. Major concern of Project 2025 is what it calls woke propaganda in public schools.
You know what I think this is all about? Because I've been hearing about it.
Wait, can we just agree that none of these are things that a district attorney could do?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it should be easily clarifiable, and we don't need to beat it to death. But definitely, I would like to talk.
But you
to
asked
District Attorney Hicks.
why didn't you? You asked me off air. You're like, why didn't that raise any flags for you? And I told you, well, I read the whole article, and again, just because I read the 2 words that say Project 2025 does not mean I'm going to go into a tailspin over anything. I know what the Project 2025 is. It's a bunch of national programs. It's not something Bill Hicks could do. So, and he gives no indication of that.
I agree. I would love to hear him offer some clarification for other people who might be confused about his wording.
What if he doesn't know what Project 2025 is?
That's a problem.
No?
Yeah. I mean, Bill's a with it guy. I assume he
He's a local politician.
Stuff.
I not need to know what's going on in national politics.
Sure, I guess so. I'd be surprised if he's not familiar with Project 2025. Maybe, because this is a print interview, maybe he did air quotes and that didn't translate through.
Even then,
I got a bunch of my own project.
Then, you weren't even aware of Project 2025. You just knew the name of it and that it was a bad thing because Republicans, and which it is. It's a very horrible thing.
Right. You're not the first person to recite these bullet points from Project 2025 for me. I've heard some of the specifics of it before. Got a couple of calls here.
It also advises future Republican presidents to go further than merely nullifying President Biden's executive orders on climate change. It proposes abandoning strategies for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. It's really horrible.
We got a call from somebody who has a little more background information about one of our true crime stories.
Oh, nice.
Look this one up. The woman who poisoned her boyfriend because she thought he was going to get a $30 million inheritance and break up with her. Look up that story because the caller has some other details. I want to see if they're true.
Morning, Buzz. Ernie Bird here. Welcome back. Good to hear you. I was listening to that true crime story you were talking about with that female who killed her boyfriend. It turned out that $30 million, it was all a scam. It wasn't even real. He was getting scammed. It was one of those inheritance scam things.
Wait a minute. Did she kill her boyfriend because he fell for a Nigerian prince scam? Is that what the call is?
I can't find it.
You can't find anything about it? We'll go to yesterday's prep because there was definitely a link to it in yesterday's prep.
The lawyer was supposed to show up. I'm assuming this guy probably paid money for the lawyer to show up, who never showed up. It was all a scam in the first place. So that's horrible. She killed this guy for actually no reason at all. All right, guys. Yeah, good morning.
That's interesting. Yeah, if that turns out, because it did come out, now he wasn't getting a $30 million inheritance. But if it turns out that the woman in North Dakota was sentenced to 25 years.
Attempted murder, for sure.
Oh, she's an old lady, too. She's 10 years younger than me. Great. I'm just looking. Is it going to go into any of the details? I'll have to look at that further when I have more time to read it.
Oh, I you've fallen victim to an online scam, and there was never any money.
I just saw it. Ryan Riley, the victim's
never going to
21-year-old son, told the Post, this New York Post, that the couple, both of them, boyfriend and girlfriend, had unwittingly fallen victim to an online scam and that there was never any money. Oh, man, this is really tragic.
That is sad.
He was meeting with his so-called estate lawyer. That's when Riley became violently ill. He was declared dead. She poisoned it. Do you remember? I just did the story, but what did she poison him with? Like antifreeze or something. And then she lied. She told police that he was feeling bad because he'd been drinking alcohol all day, which he might have been on top of the antifreeze. Oh, wow. She told police that she planned to split the $30 million inheritance with her boyfriend's son, claiming she was entitled to a portion of it as his common law wife. in North Dakota. Again, there was no $30 million inheritance. It was an online scam. Wow, dude. Thanks for the call.
Well, even worse on her. She didn't do the research beforehand.
The research?
Yeah.
To find out if it was a scam?
Should I kill my husband or should I not?
Common law husband.
Is there a difference? Do you get, in common law, do you get like the inheritance for...
I don't know, man. I again, we're going to have attorney Justin Underwood here.
Were you and I technically common law married? Because I stayed at the house.
Like a Chuck and Larry situation? Yeah. No.
I couldn't get on your insurance?
No, I think there's got to be some kind of implied physically romantic relationship. Yeah, I know. I'm not gay, but I like dudes with hair, so...
Shut the...
You're
How's it
saying
going,
Nico's
guys?
not your type.
What?
You're saying Nico's not your type.
He is.
But I'm not gay. But if I were.
But if I was, you would not be it.
Not, yeah. Brad Pitt.
How's it going, guys? I love how y'all can't even agree with each other, fighting over the air, calling each other competent news people. You know, I know news isn't y'all's thing, but
hey, we're not incompetent news people. We're incompetent at everything.
Yes, get it right.
Y'all can't even read an article right. Can't even agree with each other on that. And first of all,
right now, so I can't read an article right. Padilla is about to read an article wrong. So spoiler.
And first of all, Buzz, you're an outright liar. You didn't even fact check anything. When you said that Trump said that it doesn't cost $60,000 to bury a Mexican. Well, he didn't actually say that. Even the family's lawyer and the sister of the slain soldier came out and said that was a lie.
Okay, this is very interesting, and I definitely want to comment on this because I'm not accusing you of lying, Padilla, but sometimes your reading comprehension can be a little spotty.
I'm actually messaging with Padilla, and Padilla sounds like a very...
You guys are really going at it.
like not smart.
Padilla, and listen, nobody says you have to be smart to listen to the show. That's
Not at
fine,
all.
but please take it seriously. When I explain something to you, you're not understanding the article you are referencing.
Trump never said that.
So anyway, this is appeared in Variety. It said multiple sources who were in the room confirmed that this is what Trump said. The sisters of Vanessa Guillen were not present when he said these things. The lawyer for the family of Vanessa Guillen was not present when he said these things. Now, they did come out and say that President Trump has treated them well. Did they get any money?
Right.
Just yes or no question. Did you ever receive any money? Trump is accused in the Atlantic article of saying when he found out how much it was going to be, he had offered to pay for Vanessa Guillen's funeral. We remember the tragic
tragic soldier who was murdered at Fort Hood.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost $60,000 to bury a bleeping Mexican.
And by bleeping, he meant effing Mexican.
Maya Guillen, who's Vanessa's sister, refuted the claims. But again, all due respect to Vanessa's family, they weren't there when these words were spoken.
Right, and the sister...
They're not quoting the sister. They're quoting people who were actually there when it was allegedly said.
The sister is saying, like, well, he treated our family with respect, but that is
Did he give you any
front
money?
of you.
You're right.
So
behind closed doors. You don't know what
Padilla,
he said.
come on, you get this.
I think Padilla has some low comprehension about this because I've been messaging him that saying, look, the sister wasn't in the room. And he goes, you would believe an activist Atlantic story over the family ashamed of you.
Oh, God.
How it's like, dude, then you obviously are so down a spiral of information that it's called confirmation bias. You're only looking for something.
Vanessa Guillen, 20. God, how tragic. Was murdered near Fort Hood in 2020 by fellow soldier Aaron Robinson, who, it gets real grisly here.
Wait, so Padilla brings up, he brings up, do you think Trump would really say something like this?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely, I do. 100%. Even Joanna, who's not political, you can totally imagine.
I totally
Trump.
can.
And
believe
absolutely,
he
with the
said that.
suckers and the losers. How many times do you have to hear it from how many different sources before you think, I think Trump maybe not a good guy?
He's not a nice guy.
Yeah.
So I go like this. Well, Trump has been recorded as saying that he wants generals like Hitler's generals. And Padilla says this. Modern armies still study German generals because of the tactics they used in modern war.
What Trump is
Read a book.
Justin Underwood's going to be here in just a few minutes.
Just a little bit.
More of the Buzz Adams Morning Show's on the way right after this.
While you're working away, we're working for you. Our job.
Let's run as smooth as that first quiet morning coffee. Right Drive, the only way to drive.
Live from the KLAQ studios, the Buzz Adams Morning Show. Courtesy of Glasheen, Vyas, and Inderman Personal Injury Lawyers at GVILaw.com.
All right, we have our good friend, beloved colleague.
Yes.
Attorney Justin Underwood, who's here from
Good
Law
guy.
Offices Wyatt Underwood. And Justin is going to take some calls for Ask a Lawyer. So if you have any kind of question of a legal nature, you need some advice, not the same as a legal consultation, but Justin, I think you usually have something to help out everybody who calls in.
Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
I do my best. I don't have the answers to everything, or I would be on a
But a lot of it is kind of pointing a person towards the direction that you should go in.
Kind of
I want to ask a couple of questions.
Wait. Before you get into the serious stuff, are you trying to one-up Derek in the fashion department? Because you look very swag.
I
Law
tell
swagger.
everyone
It's a very Tommy boy look.
It costs a lot to look this cheap.
Well, I love it.
Yeah, looks very nice.
Now, is that tailored or off the rack?
It's definitely not off the rack. Do you know anyone who would buy this jacket off the rack?
Me?
Buzz. Yeah, Buzz would.
But I'd buy it at Burlington.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Good to see you, buddy.
You too, man.
Let's talk about the case of the death row. We're going to talk about the El Paso Walmart for a second,
Sure.
but this is the guy who's been on death row for 20 years for shaking his baby, or at least that's what he was convicted of.
Right.
And you were telling us the science is junky.
It is. So, in the example I told Nico,
I think
about
shaken
right now,
baby syndrome is definitely a thing.
It is a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as as time and technology has progressed over the years, think about this: do we use VHS tapes anymore? No. Some of the listeners don't even know what the hell a VHS.
Then we'll all do it.
Right. I mean, it's not like getting a vinyl record, right? We
Yeah.
still use those, but VHS tapes, we used them a long time ago, right? For evidence purposes and for our, we go to Blockbuster and rent VHS tapes. That technology is obsolete. Now we have Blu-ray, right? Now we have, so the technology and the science behind some of the things that prosecutions have relied on in the former decades, obviously in the past, to convict people based on expert witnesses and what they did in the case. Some of that science has turned out to be not the most reliable science that you can imagine. So
You could probably say that about anything 30 years ago, 50 years ago.
Just think about healthcare in general.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I was specifically going to say the DNA testing. I mean, absolutely, it was super faulty at the beginning. And
absolutely. Now, not only has DNA changed the way we do things, in as far as convicting people. Think about how it helps us exonerate our clients, show that people weren't at the scene at a murder. Like I tried to murder, a bathtub murder in San Elizario several years ago, and
by the way, Justin said he tried a bathroom murder.
I did not commit the murder.
He didn't try it.
There was a pause. We heard the pause.
My client was acquitted. But during that case, it came up that the state brought their DNA expert to put him on the stand and say, yeah, we did DNA testing in this case. And I got up and asked him, you did DNA testing in this case, right? Yes, I did. My client's DNA was not at the scene where this person was found deceased in a bathtub, right? That's correct. He wasn't, the DNA was not there. That's pretty powerful evidence to suggest that he didn't commit this crime, right? And the state's expert said, yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so
think about that.
We're talking about Robert Robertson.
Yes.
Who has been on death row for something like 20 years.
Convicted of...
Was DNA... Did DNA play a part in his conviction?
I don't think DNA. I think it was...
It was the autopsy and the way that the doctor concluded, all right, this is starting to look like a shaken baby syndrome. Now, they're saying, well, it could have been a pneumonia case.
Right.
Which causes inflammation.
Sure does.
Ammonia or pneumonia?
There's certain types of pneumonia that cause reactions in the body that cause inflammation.
Inflammation in the brain or the neck.
Good to know.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to think about, we have a dead child. This happened when, in the 80s or 70s or something like that?
This happened, wait, are you using the real life example?
Right.
Early 2000s.
Okay, so even from then to now, the science has evolved to a point where he could have an expert come in or 2 or 3 experts come in and say, no, this is not what this is from. This is from, I'm an expert pediatrician, physicist, doctor, or whatever, and physicist. And this is not what caused this. And so
I say the detective who worked the case said that this guy deserves another trial.
If the detective who arrested the guy
says that,
he
knows more about this case than you and I do.
Absolutely. I mean, what does that tell you?
And if the alternative is, well, we're going to go ahead and put to death this guy who might be innocent, that's on all of us.
Well,
if the state carries out and then we find out, well, he didn't really do it, that is on all of our conscience.
And let me tell you, do I believe in my heart 100% that the state of Texas has executed innocent people? Absolutely.
You do.
Johnny Frank Garrett, case out of Amarillo, happened on Halloween, like in the late 70s, early 80s. Was convicted of killing a nun on Halloween night, right? They harassed this kid who's borderline mentally ill. Harassed him. He finally confessed, which was nonsense. They found hair at the scene. They found hair at the scene where this nun was sexually assaulted and murdered. He gets convicted, given the death penalty, is put to death, maintains his innocence for a decade. Years later, when DNA is finally available, they arrested I think it was a Cuban immigrant who was relocated to Amarillo during that time for work purposes or something, had been arrested like in New Mexico or something, and DNA was available. They matched his DNA, and he was convicted of killing a woman. Mm-hmm. They took his DNA,
and it popped up.
DNA was the hair.
Wow!
And they executed.
There's a documentary. It's called The Last Word.
Wait,
and it is specifically about that. It's terrible.
Important question. And hold on, Buzz. Before you get the music cued, okay. One, do you think that state officials would prefer to have the image of being tough on crime?
Of course they would.
And that's why they would feel like, yes, we got to execute him. Because
of course.
Well, if they're doing it based on image, what's your image going to be if it comes out? He didn't do it.
They don't care.
They don't care because there aren't any repercussions.
What's your repercussion? What are you gonna do?
You have a guilty conscience.
You had
a guilty.
You're talking about. You're talking about Greg Abbott, man.
And second of all, we'd have confirmation from Justin Underwood.
Hold on to this. I need to get to some calls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you heard us talking about the Bill Hicks interview in the El Paso Times. We are definitely going to address that, but I want to get at least one call in. Okay. Anybody else on the line, we're going to get to you as soon as we can. Justin Underwood is here to answer your questions to the best of his ability. Here is Raul. Hello, Raul.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Doing good. You got a question for Justin?
Yeah, Justin, I had a question.
Sure, what's up, man?
This is for my brother. He's at work. He can't make the call, so I hope it's okay if I ask.
Cool.
So he's been in his marriage for about 3 years.
Okay.
But divorce looks to be in the horizon.
Okay.
Now, before he got married, he had property in his name.
Okay.
I don't know how Texas law works. If they do take a divorce, does he hold on to the property he had before he got married?
Great question. So Texas is a community property state, which generally means all the property that you accumulate while you're married belongs to the estate, which belongs to both of you. But if he owned the property prior to it being if he owned the property outright before he was married, that is separate property that will be his.
Even if they bought the property and he paid for it, but did they have a joint account?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If let's say, it's 2024, so forgive me guys, but Buzz and Nico get married, right? Let's just, for the example.
Shut up, Joanna.
So let's say they get married, and Buzz, while
That's
you're married,
be a sound clip.
you go and buy a piece of commercial real estate, right?
Yeah.
And you pay your money from your salary from the radio show, right? It doesn't matter because it belongs to both of you.
Both of us. Remember that.
There is one thing, Raul, there's one thing you do need to keep in mind. If it's a rental property, typically if Elena, my partner, was here, she could really, she'd probably just scowl at, she would scowl at me and say, you have it wrong, Justin. But I do believe that if there's income that is generated during the marriage from the property, I think she may have a claim on the income unless it was designated as separate property. But as far as the property in and of itself, if he owned it before the marriage, it's going to be separate property. Right. But
Raul, best of luck to your brother.
One more question if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my brother, he did buy a property during the marriage, but he bought it under his LLC. That was formed before the marriage.
So it was bought by it was bought by an entity?
Yes.
You're going to have an argument that is separate property because did he own the LLC prior to? Thank God. God, I'm not a family lawyer.
You should.
You should definitely
call Elena.
Definitely call
She's
call
the
Elena,
expert.
our family lawyer, and ask her those questions.
Well, this is the reason people call lawyers, is to navigate the.
So you would say Raul's brother needs a lawyer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing: she does consultations where he can ask all these questions and run all these scenarios by her, and she can tell him, right then and there, this is what it is, this is what we can do, this is what we can argue about. Sometimes the answer is not yes or no; it's can we make an argument and convince a judge that this is really what's going on.
Okay.
And look, and just one more layer to the onion. He got into an auto accident before the marriage, so he wasn't technically able to consummate the marriage. So in Texas, I understand there's something there.
I don't think there is. I don't know. I've never delved into that.
Right. You're going.
How do you prove it? You would have to go through
I don't. From what I remember, I don't think you have to. I don't think there has to be consummation, exchange of livestock, and all that other stuff. I think that it's if you're married, if you live together and you hold yourself out as husband and wife, and make your intent known publicly, I think that would qualify you for marriage.
Okay, Raul, thank you.
Me personally, he's going to need a divorce.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Take care,
we've got Diana waiting. I know you've been waiting. Please hang on. We just got to get this break in. It's not very long. We'll come back with more. And Justin is going to tell us he spoke to District Attorney Bill Hicks today.
To him as well.
I called him on the way
and
over.
said, "Hey, they're talking." I told you somebody was.
So I called and said they're gossip about you on the radio. I need to get it straight from the horse's mouth.
Okay, and you did.
I did.
Okay, so we'll come back and we'll address that with Justin Underwood right after this.
Music news, concert updates, song and album factoids, and of course, nothing but El Paso's best rock.
33 early voting low. You can choose the location most convenient for you. Vote early. Visit epcountyvotes.com.
The Buzz Adams Morning Show, Monday through Friday, 5 to 10. KLAQ and KLAQ HD1, El Paso, a town square media station.
I want to get to Diana very first because she's been on hold a long time. But I do want to talk about the interview that Bill Hicks did with the El Paso Times a week or so ago.
Yes.
All right. Here is Diana. She has a question for Justin Underwood on Ask a Lawyer. Good morning, Diana.
Good morning.
Hi there. What's your question?
My question is basically a common law marriage type question.
Okay, go for it. Good morning, Diana.
My sister has been living with her. I'm sorry?
I said good morning, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh, good morning. My sister's been living with her boyfriend for 10 plus years now.
Okay.
He asked her to move in with her.
Okay.
And now it turns out that he's been cheating on her and he's kicking her out. What rights, if any, does she have?
So, common law marriage, you have to cohabitate for a certain number of years. I think it's 3 years.
3 years.
I think it's 3 years. But did they ever refer to each other as husband and wife?
Not that I'm aware of.
So
no.
if they never referred to each other as husband and wife,
I've
you're gonna
heard this
fail the
before.
common law marriage.
I've heard this before.
Prong of that.
Do both parties have to say yes? What if she referred to him as her husband and he didn't refer to her as his wife?
They have to refer to one another in context and in personal relationships. You have to call witnesses who say, "Yeah, they called each other. This is my wife. This is my husband. This is how I introduced them." You have to produce some sort of evidence or testimony that the parties referred to each other as their spouse.
But Diana, going back to your point, no, you don't think they ever put themselves forward as being husband and wife?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. So if listen, ask your sister. But I mean, you're her sister, so if you know the answer to that, probably she's not going to meet the prong for they refer to each other as spouses. That's one of the main things in Texas about.
Let me
common
ask
law
you
marriage.
a couple of other terms, and you tell me if these would have counted. The old ball and chain.
Maybe. I mean, it all.
My better half.
It does take into account how you refer.
My old lady.
My old lady. Yes.
How broad, or do they have to use the word husband and the word wife?
I think in the context of what you're saying, if they're referring to the other person as being a spouse of any kind whatsoever, even if they call the other one the warden or the director or whatever it is, then yeah, I think you can take that at face value.
The old battle axe,
the ball and chain. I had to gnaw my own leg off.
I'm sorry. Listen, I know these are very serious questions for people, and we just can't help ourselves.
Right.
Sometimes we have to jest about it, and I hope you don't take offense at that.
No, not at all.
Oh, great.
No, Diana, I think if they did not hold themselves out to be husband and wife, I think she fails that part of the requirement for a common law marriage. But best of luck to her.
Yeah. Anything else, Diana?
No, that was my only question.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the call. Is it just me, or sometimes these calls? This was a great call. The one previous was great. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, it would take a team of talented comedy writers to come up with a better premise, for us to talk about.
We are a team of comedy writers. What are you talking about?
So the El Paso Times had an interview with District Attorney Bill Hicks.
Yes.
All of it, listen, all of his credentials, the people who vouch for him, sterling. Everything about it. There's only one point, and this was highlighted for me. I don't want to say by who, but the question from the El Paso Times. What are your top three priorities? Number one, Walmart case to trial. We can talk about that a little.
Please.
Personnel issues through to stability.
So I will say
course,
this.
yeah.
I think if you ask either of the guys, right, James or Bill, I think if you ask either of them, the personnel issues are a problem. It is a thing. It's an issue that's still plaguing the DA's office. But here's the thing. You can't blame that on Bill. You can't blame it on him because of, forgive me, we're still going through COVID stuff. I know that it's over with but the courts aren't over it, right? The backup of no trials and nothing going on. Courts are backlogged without a pandemic. So you add a pandemic. Now, are the judges, we are literally busting through stuff as fast as we can. And I know that the media sometimes will say, oh, there's such a delay. One, there's always a delay. And I'll talk about that with the Walmart case in a minute. There's always the delay.
But even without COVID.
But even without COVID, we were backlogged. So,
District Attorney Bill Hicks brought this up in the interview, if you read it.
I didn't read the whole thing. I mean, it's like
you read
pages.
the 2 words.
Yeah.
He read the highlights.
I scan.
So
it's called speed reading.
I thought it was a really interesting point, and maybe Justin could speak to this, that they have people that go through the cases in the district attorney's office to get them screened.
Screening. It's the screening department.
Yeah.
Right.
But then once it gets assigned to the judge runs the docket at his own pace.
Right. And every judge has their own personality, and every judge runs things differently, and that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be set up, right?
But that there's a limitation to how fast the district attorney's office can push them.
Right. And think about this. So most cases, I would say beyond 95% of cases, get resolved without a trial, right? Because the lawyer for the DA's office, the lawyer for it's impossible. I'll give you a great example. On trial days in any felony court in El Paso, on any of them, you will go and you will have anywhere from 15 to 50 felony trials set, right? That does not take into account the 400 cases that we worked out.
Wow.
Those are the ones where we cannot reach an agreement, where the state's offering 50 years and we want 10, right? Like, we're so far apart, we just cannot reach an agreement. Those cases have to be tried. So on a jury trial day, right, you've got anywhere for up to and including 50 cases set for trial, right? Guess how many cases get tried that day? 1.
Okay, this answers a question I've had for a long time. When you get called for jury duty and you go in the big auditorium with 20 other groups of 30 people, there's a lot of people in there, and you're sitting and you're playing Candy Crush and you're waiting to be called.
I've been
and
one
they
of those
come out
people.
and they say, everybody in Group C, you're all dismissed.
Yep, that means what that means.
They were faking like they were going to go to trial, but once they told him we are seating a jury right now, some kind of deal was reached.
Let me tell you, and I get it that no one appreciates that, right? But let me tell you, but for that jury panel being there, that case would not have gotten resolved.
Right.
So when we call the jury panel in, it's because we mean business. Like, let's get this done.
So
Let's
we're
try this
kind of
case.
props.
But do we work out cases on days of trial? Yes. And let me tell you why. Because sometimes on the day of trial, the witness or the witness that you've been trying to subpoena or that the state has been trying to subpoena isn't available. They don't show up. They can't find them. There's a police officer who was the only witness to this. Like if it's a DWI trial, right? The police officer who made the arrest, who did all the tests, is no longer with the department. How are you going to make that case if he did show up?
District Attorney Bill Hicks is on the phone, guys.
Oh, yay.
Hi, Bill.
Good morning. How are you
Bill,
today?
I just want to make sure, I brought this up this morning. I want to make sure, and I'm so glad you called in. So I'm reading the interview with the El Paso Times. Everything checks out. There's one thing on your list of priorities, point 4, I have a long list of Project 2025 programs that I'm looking forward to putting in place. What does that mean?
Yes, well, that has absolutely nothing to do with anything to do with the Heritage Foundation presidential politics.
That's not what you told me on the phone, Bill.
Wait, what?
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Listen, I am glad that you called in because that kind of leaps off the page at me. You know, wait a minute, what's this project? Was it a poor choice of words?
Well, it was just a poor choice of words. Listen, I have a long list of projects for the DA's office. We're in the process of standing up the domestic violence unit. I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
We should have the 24-hour contact program back in place. It sounds like when we have a bad connection.
No, we hear you fine.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, great. I want to start a victim advocacy seminar in 2025 to take hold of the victim reintegration after any kind of mass casualty event. I think that's going to be very critical. We've learned so much from mass casualty events, and one of the things we've learned is that at the tail end of a mass casualty event, the reintegration of witnesses and victims with their family members is typically handled by law enforcement. And we have 18 victim advocates in our office that are trained on how to deal with people in kind of a critical crisis type situation. And our victim advocates are much better capable of dealing with reintegration type of situations than law enforcement are. So I think that we can get together with all the other victim advocacy groups in town. We can handle that sort of reintegration in a much more sensitive way than law enforcement. So I'd like to start a nationally leading type program there.
Is that the kind of program? I'm sorry, Bill. Is that the program you're talking about? Is that the one that gets criticized? Oh, you're going to send out mental health counselors instead of law enforcement? Is it one of those programs? I don't agree with that position, by the way.
No. That's the sheriff's office. That's Oscar Ugarte's program for dealing with domestic violence calls.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about. So, after a mass casualty event, there's what's called a reintegration center. And because in a mass casualty event, the law enforcement sweeps in, they grab all of the witnesses, all of the potential victims, and they cart them all off to a center where they will interview everyone, right? Well, if you're a family member, you don't know all you know is, hey, my family member was at, say, Cielo Vista Mall, and you don't have any contact with them. And so there's going to be a reintegration center set up somewhere where you'll get a notice, hey, go to the reintegration center, and your family member will be released to that reintegration center. A bus will pull up, and all of the witnesses that were rounded up by law enforcement will be dropped off at the bus at that reintegration center. Well, it's obviously a very emotional time because as a family member, you don't know what kind of trauma your family member went through as a witness or as a potential victim. So, it's a very emotional time. And
Bill, I'm just wondering
that kind of thing.
What's the district attorney's office definition of a mass casualty incident? I know it's a little different than the hospitals, though.
Right. Well, it's so ours would be something that's criminally related. So a shooting, mass stabbing, something like that, some sort of criminal episode where Let me give you an example. So if you recall back in March of 2023, where there was it turned out to be just two gang members shooting at each other, but we all thought, and initial reports were that we had another mass shooter set loose in the Cielo Vista Mall. And if you remember back to March 2023, so the law enforcement swooped in, they shut down the whole access to Cielo Vista Mall. They they did what they were supposed to do. They cut the access to the parking lot. They were escorting everyone out of Cielo Vista Mall. They put them all into buses, took them all to an interview center where they were interviewing everyone, trying to find out what they saw, what they did. Well, it turns out that was just two guys in rival gangs that kind of butted off against each other and ended up shooting at each other right just outside of the food court. So it wasn't a mass shooting event. It wasn't somebody trying to go in and target, individuals or one person walking through the mall shooting people. It wasn't anything like that. But the initial reports were that it was a mass casualty or a mass shooting type of thing.
Okay.
So law enforcement went in and did that. Well, they enacted the program, which means that all of these people that had been rounded up for witnesses and that sort of thing were all being released to a reintegration center. That release wasn't very smooth initially until the DA victim assistance people went in and kind of helped to make that a little smoother.
All right. Well, I just want to stress, because I brought it up on the air, but now that we have the phone, any reference to Project 2025 in your interview is not a reference to the Project 2025 from the Heritage Foundation.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like I said, I have a long list of things that I want to do at the DA's office that all deal with reaching out into our community to make our community a better place. We need to revamp our DIMS program. I want to bring back a children's court program. So there's a long list of things that, they kind of involve more discussion to kind of understand what they are, but absolutely nothing to do with.
What about the bronze bust of Justin Underwood that needs to sit in the lobby of the DA's office for all the work that I've done over there in the 3 years that I worked
it should be
there
gold, really,
with you.
Well, we're actually looking at having a bronze statue placed right in front of the elevators when you come off the elevator of Justin's head.
Thank
right
God.
there at the elevator.
Well, hold on, real quick, Bill.
I've got a break in 1 minute.
Okay, real quick, Bill. I enjoyed the interview that you did with the Times. One of the points that you talked about is that the district attorney's office, while it has made a lot of progress since the kind of damage that DA Rosales did to it, you said that you are still getting things stable and that it really can't afford to have another bad DA.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying. I just wanted to know: is that the position that you still have? Is there what kind of work are you still doing to stabilize it? And
well, you know what? We're going to have to do an in-person interview, Bill. If you're able to, with the remaining week and a few days until election, under 2 weeks now, if you're able to come in and talk to us in person, the invitation is there also for your opponent in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be glad to come in anytime. Buzz, if you want to, I'll certainly send my information over on the chat, and then if James would like to come in, we can certainly do a kind of an impromptu back and forth. That'd be great.
Sure, or separately, whatever both candidates agree.
I'm happy to share both candidates' cell phone numbers with the public.
And I'm just gonna send them memes and make them figure out what the memes mean. All right, thank you, Bill Hicks, for calling in. That's what I needed. That's what I figured the answer would be, and I thank you for calling in to give it yourself.
No, listen, I really appreciate the opportunity to clarify. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Bill. We'll talk soon.
All right, bye-bye.
There is the district attorney,
again,
Bill
like
Hicks.
Like I said, it's
unfortunate
none of that
choice
is Bill's
of words.
Fault. All that turnover and all that stuff.
All the turnover from
has nothing to do with Bill. I'm in that building all day, every day. It wouldn't have mattered if F. Lee Bailey came in and took.
Oh, yeah, right.
Those personnel issues were present regardless of who came in.
Pre-existing.
It has nothing to do with James or Bill. Period.
Okay. Justin Underwood, thank you. I thought we didn't take many calls, but the two that we got were really, really good.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming in, and thank you for facilitating this with District Attorney Bill Hicks.
Anytime.
It's super helpful.
Yeah, that's why you get that bust.
Let's take a break.
Coming up after the Buzz Adams Morning Show, Glenn Garza and Daniel Paulus.
Get educated. Finder.com to search, compare, and choose the best school for your child.
Local and loco.
Don't you know I'm loco?
The Buzz Adams Morning Show, 95.5 KLAQ.
Okay, let's hit it.
All right, we've got Nico with news headlines coming up. Dallas Cowboys had a bye week, but they'll be back in action this Sunday. The now 3-3 Dallas Cowboys will travel to San Francisco, take on the 49ers, who just lost to the Chiefs on Sunday. 49ers are 3-4. Our broadcast starts with the pregame show that's going to start at 5 p.m. on Sunday. After the game and the postgame with Brad and Babe, we'll join Loudwire Weekends already in progress following the game. Dallas Cowboys football on the Q is brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys, 915 Tours, and Border City Ale House. Border City Ale House, the home of the 600 ESPN El Paso Monday Night Football watch parties. And Nico, if you're ready, we'll just go ahead and get into news. All right. Second time I've played this today.
It begins now.
I just want to point out how I was right. Nobody can say that, right? Nobody. It's like he can't say you. Oh, you were.
What did I tell you?
Buzz can't be like, oh, you know what? You were right, Nico. The way that you interpreted and read Bill Hicks' entire interview.
It turned out that your interpretation of it was correct, and I expected Bill to come in and tell us the truth. And Bill is a capable and honest guy, and it sounds like his we need to have Bill Hicks and James Montoya, his opponent, in
Both
before
of
the
you
election.
had a great point.
But I ended up right.
Thank you, Joanna.
I'm the one that ended up right.
Good God.
You both had great points. Don't make me choose.
Choose, Joanna.
Nico was correct.
Yeah!
I got to write that down. 8:29.
Thank you for that, Joanna. All right.
I thought it was a question worth asking anyway.
It was a question worth asking.
You ready?
But then I was like, I think he misspoke, and I think he didn't know what Project 25 was.
Let's confirm it then, which we did.
All right.
No, he definitely knows what. He even knew the Heritage Foundation. He of course, Bill Hicks is
well. I mean,
up
some
to
people
date on
might not, be paying attention to that.
Project 2025 is this policy paper by the Heritage Foundation. Heritage Foundation has been around since the early 70s. But this one, a lot of people in the MAGA sphere are now part of the Project 2025. They want to do away with no-fault divorce. Just hey, I want to get divorced. I don't want to give you a reason for doing it. I just want a divorce. They want to make Sunday the Sabbath, which it's not.
And extra paid overtime for Sabbath work. They also
Christian nationalism. I'm not down with that, man.
Expansion of presidential powers. They seek to place the federal government's entire executive branch under presidential control, eliminating the independence of the DOJ, the FBI, and the Federal Communications Commission.
You can look up Project 2025. There's plenty of information. There's the Project 2025 document in its entirety, multiple nonpartisan sources online. But so the comment Bill said is, I have a lot of Project 2025. He wasn't referring to the Project 2025. All right. You ready?
Oh, it also, I just found out, it also suggests deploying the military for domestic law and immigration enforcement under the Insurrection Act of 1807.
There's probably 50% of the country that agrees with that.
Oh.
No, I know.
To see soldiers walking around enforcing the law? Okay, sorry.
Right.
Let's get into it. Well, with less than 2 weeks away to go until Election Day, yesterday proved to be a busy day in the political world. Vice President Kamala Harris sat down for an interview with NBC News. When asked if she and her team were making plans in the event that former President Donald Trump tries to claim victory if he loses, and who are we kidding?
he is.
Right. So if he loses, do they have a plan going forward?
Here she is.
Of course. This was a person, Donald Trump, who tried to undo a free and fair election, who still denies the will of the people, who incited a violent mob to attack the United States Capitol, and 140 law enforcement officers were attacked.
Harris covered abortion rights, said she'd work with Republicans to find compromises if elected, and said she believes America is ready for its first female president. It was announced yesterday that former President Trump will be recording an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast on Friday. The Joe Rogan Experience has ranked as one of the most popular podcasts for years now, especially among young men.
Trump says he's never tried any drugs of any kind, even alcohol. He's going to get a contact high in that studio, right?
I hope he does.
I mean,
I would love to see Stone Donald Trump.
Joe's going to be there. Joey Diaz is. If Joey Diaz is there, you could just get a contact high from catching a whiff of Joey's hair.
Speaking on behalf of Harris at a campaign event in New Hampshire yesterday, President Joe Biden said that if his policies were as bizarre as Trump's, that he'd be locked up. He then said...
Who said that?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden. He then said, we got to lock him up. He paused, though, and said, we need to politically lock him up.
Nice catch there, Chief.
Yeah. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz...
He wants to lock people up. We need to lock him
up, politically speaking.
Actually, by the way, sometimes it seems like Donald Trump wants to lose the election, just the way he's going at it and the way he's narrowing his base, really tight. It seems like he wants to lose. But I also believe if he is not elected president and he calls off all the investigations into him, I think he will go to prison or flee the country.
One can hope.
I'm not.
Well, look, I'm not.
Here is Minnesota Governor Tim
I'm
Walz.
not going to waste all the time I'm in. I'm going to talk about his running mate. His running mate, Elon Musk. Seriously.
A guy that's just going to pay for the election. I'm just going to pay money to win this election.
I'm really curious about whether or not that's legal. Because he's not paying. He's paying $1 million a day to somebody who registered to vote. I don't know if it counts if you're already registered or you have to register anew.
And you have to sign this.
And you have to sign
petition or pledge.
Petition in favor of the First and Second Amendments. What American isn't going to agree with the First and Second Amendments, guys?
Yeah.
Nobody
hates those amendments.
But
those are our
by
two favorite
doing
amendments.
this and telling people you can win $1 million, are you paying people for their votes? I mean, we've been talking a lot about election integrity for the past 5 years. I don't know the answer to that.
Right? Well, Donald Trump's real running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, had some things to say about ideas coming from people who just speak the truth.
Oh, my God.
The biggest ideas come from people who just follow the truth, right? And yeah, sometimes they're going to be wrong. Sometimes they're not going to get everything right. But we've got to stop punishing people like Bobby Kennedy for saying, hey, what about that? Exactly.
We got to stop punishing people like Bobby Kennedy.
Where did we get to the point where we are taking him seriously? This is
Vance?
No, Bobby Kennedy, a serious vice presidential candidate is pointing towards Robert F. Kennedy as a guiding light for truth.
The biggest ideas come from people who just follow the truth, right? And yeah, sometimes they're going to be wrong. Sometimes they're not going to get everything right. But we've got to stop punishing people like Bobby Kennedy for saying, well, maybe
hey, what about
this
that?
isn't working. Yeah, hey, what about that? Exactly.
Yeah. What punishment has Bobby Kennedy faced? We got to quit punishing Bobby Kennedy. I think they might have kicked him off some social media sites because he was spreading absolute garbage, nonsense, junk science.
They should have punished him for that bear thing.
Which beer thing?
Bear.
Oh, dumping the right.
The bear cub.
The bear cub in Central Park.
Oh, the bears thing. Yes.
We need to. How has Bobby Kennedy been punished other than people saying, you're full of malarkey, right?
Malarkey.
Yeah, malarkey. I said it. We need to lock him up. I'm Joe Biden.
Okay.
And Donald Trump's longest-serving chief of staff is warning that the Republican presidential nominee meets the definition of a fascist, and that while in office, Trump suggested that Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, quote, did some good things, unquote.
A lot of people have said that. A lot of people in the public eye, they've all paid a price for it. You know, it's not illegal to say that, but there are repercussions for things that you say.
There are repercussions for things that you say, and that should happen to Donald Trump as well as anybody.
You know, when it's coming from a baseball owner like Marge Schott, you don't take it as seriously if it's coming from a former president. And this was the kind of stuff that John Kelly, a Marine Corps
people
general.
go, what to the people who go, yeah, but who was he to know? Who's John Kelly?
He heard it with his own ears, and now he's saying publicly he's risking.
He was a hanger-on, probably. What job did he really have?
He was the chief
White
of staff
House
for the longest
chief of staff
tenure.
From 2017 to 2019,
Yeah.
a retired Marine general who is a registered Republican and the chief of staff, they are the closest to the president. They are supposed to be with the president, near them all the time.
You got to read some of the details of this. Like, I think that maybe John Kelly was trolling him when he said, be like the German generals. And he asked, you mean like in World War I, Kaiser Wilhelm's?
I have that quote, actually.
Yeah. And then, go ahead. Do you have the entire quote?
Yes.
Because it is something else. And it is impactful when somebody like retired Marine General John Kelly says something. It is impactful for me.
Well, Kelly has long been critical of Trump and previously accused him of calling veterans killed in combat suckers and losers. Well, his new warnings come just 2 weeks before Election Day. He, quote, he commented more than once that, quote, you know Hitler did some good things too, Kelly recalled to the Times. Kelly said he would usually quash the conversation by saying nothing Hitler did, you could argue, was good.
Kelly would say that to Trump?
To Trump. But that Trump would occasionally bring up the topic again. In an interview with The Atlantic, Kelly recalled that when Trump raised the idea of needing German generals, Kelly would ask if he meant, did you mean Bismarck generals? Mm-hmm. Referring to Otto von Bismarck, the former chancellor of the German Reich, who oversaw the unification of Germany in the 1870s.
Yeah. John Kelly knows that Donald Trump doesn't know who Otto von Bismarck is.
Surely you can't mean Hitler's generals, Kelly recalled asking Trump, to which the former president responded, yeah, Hitler's generals. Well, the Trump campaign has denied these stories on Tuesday.
Oh, no, you're missing a big part. This is great. So Kelly, who I think at this point was trolling the president, said, well, you know, Rommel committed suicide after he was part of a failed assassination attempt. And Trump, according to John Kelly, didn't know who this Rommel was.
Who's this Rommel?
Right.
Okay, which goes to the point, Padilla in our app chat was trying to say that Donald Trump was just studying German generals and that we've been studying German generals for years now. You think
he doesn't know who Rommel is?
He's never studied anything in his life. He probably meant, you know, generals that would do anything that Hitler wanted.
By the way, Hitler's generals, some of them were involved in an assassination attempt on Hitler. Padilla, not a compelling argument there. He's not studying Rommel. He doesn't even know who Rommel is. How's he going to be studying their maneuvers and what they've done? Quit tying yourself into a pretzel, dude. This has got to be stressful for you, right?
To have to defend from every side.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Steve Kaplowitz. Go Sports, go.
Go Sports.
On the way with Steve Kaplowitz next.
Hey, it's Chuck, your host for Loudwire Nights. Tonight at 7, we will rock the borderland with the best rock ever made and the best rock being made. Special guests, birthday and anniversary celebrations, and every night at 10.
When you get a Dell piece, gives back. Shop now at Dell.com/deals.
Live from the KLAQ studios, the Buzz Adams Morning Show. Courtesy of Glasheen, Vyas, and Inderman Personal Injury Lawyers at GVILaw.com.
Buzzline is busy every time that I phone. Buzz is the longest talker I've ever known. Buzz, I've been trying hard to reach him all day. Buzz, when I get him, I'll forget what to say.
Are you singing along, Joanna?
Yes.
That was you, huh?
That's me.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
I haven't heard this one in a while.
Joanna's a good voice.
Let me give out our phone. Yeah, Joanna can carry a tune for sure.
Thank you.
You can call us directly in the studio if you want to go first. We'll put you right on. If you call us live, that number is 915-910-4995. Or you can call anytime, night or day, even weekends, and leave a message on the neck line. That number is 844-805-NECK, 844-805-6325. I just want to play one call. Nico had a couple more stories, and the one you got picked out is super interesting. But let me get this call real quick.
Good morning. Hey, I went to go vote early voting, and then I voted my votes, and at the very end, they got all these propositions. It's like, man, I got bamboozled, or how do you call it? But then all those, they had about like 6 or 7. So I'm like, I don't even know what to vote on. I was like, yes, no.
I know, man.
So, before you guys go vote, check on the proposals. I guess they're that the city wants you to pass or not. But I mean, the way they state them, it's like totally like, I don't even know what I was voting for. I just put no.
I think that you just wait a minute. You just put no. You can leave stuff blank if you don't have an opinion on
that's
it.
That's the same thing as saying no.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. It won't get passed either way. If you say no or leave it blank.
Yeah, but that's one no vote that maybe if you understood the issues, and I don't understand them. I'll read a couple of them just to let you know how impenetrable they are. It's clear when they write it. They don't expect most people to know.
I think
what
they do it on purpose.
I think they do it on purpose to minimize the vote. They make it so
Can I give
unintelligible.
Can I give you some suggestions for this year's election?
Wait. I want to go back to the caller. I thought it was a good, informative call, and I still think that, but I just vote no on it because you don't understand it is not great.
I agree with that. I agree.
So I don't even know what I'm voting for. And when you come to the very end, when you start voting that, but just for your information, just kind of next before you go, check what it is. Okay.
Yeah, right. So you can leave that blank. And that's what I usually do. Prop B, the issuance of bonds in the amount not to exceed $26,700,000 for facilities for the county's Board of Office of Medical. I don't know what, I don't know everything.
And the levy of tax is sufficient to pay the principal and interest on the bonds.
Yeah, that is untranslatable for the average.
So what are you voting on? Are you saying yes or no to that?
I don't know. I'm going to leave it blank. It's way over my head.
It's saying should we give the county medical's the coroner's office more money, the medical examiner's office more money?
Do they not have enough?
If they're asking for more, then yes.
I think there are plenty of people who probably understand it better than I do, but I'm saying that there are a lot more people.
Basically, each one of these is: should we give these entities money, and should we raise your taxes to pay for them? That's what each one is saying.
Oh, yeah, but the individual...
The 5 bond proposals. They're bonds.
But to understand what they mean and put them in context it kind of boils down... Do you want to...
I think the medical examiner is an important office. Right. Now, the next one...
just vote no on everything, though, right?
Is the Coliseum one in here?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there it is. Proposition D.
D, issuance of bonds in an amount not to exceed $105,485,000 for the county's Coliseum and adjacent facilities, and the levy of taxes sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on bonds. I kind of understand that one.
Of course you understand it because you know what the county Coliseum is. You just didn't know what a medical examiner was.
I think part of the charm of the county Coliseum is that it's always been a shambles and like on the verge of collapsing into a pile of rubble.
It shouldn't be renovated.
I have a lot of fond memories of that old building, man. I remember when there was a hole in it, not because it was a fancy stadium or something, because there was a hole in it. You remember the hole in the county Coliseum for like years?
Yeah, it snowed during a Buzzards game.
It snowed during a Buzzards game, which was delightful.
Actually, be honest with you, as long as you weren't sitting in that section, it was pretty wild to watch. I mean, it was a chilly night that night, and all of a sudden, you started to see snow come through the arena. It was unbelievable. Now, let me say this.
So you would say no. So you would probably vote no for this.
Now, I mean, I would like to hear different opinions on it, but time,
opinions. What are you talking about? It's literally saying
the arguments for and against, pro or con.
We need to renovate the Coliseum.
I don't know. Do we? What are people saying about it? Not everybody agrees, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Steve, do we need to spend $105 million to renovate the county coliseum
and raise taxes to pay for it?
Well, we don't have to spend money on anything, but the question is, how much do you want to see things get improved over the course of time? The Coliseum is
low priority to me.
The Coliseum is 84 years old. It would be nice if you could take that facility, which, by the way, used to be like a bomb shelter, and back in World War II days, and turn that into something that has a little more modernization to it. So I'm okay. Listen, I love the Coliseum. I spent so many years of my professional broadcast career at the Coliseum, working hockey games and going to concerts and going to shows and seeing what they've done. So, the Coliseum holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, but when you look at the rest of the propositions, and they're saying things like for the county courthouse, for the county's animal shelter,
$32 million for the county animal shelter,
for the medical examiner.
What are you going to do? By the way, what are you going to do for $32 million in the animal shelter? Like what? And that's the other thing. Is
I don't know. There are a lot of specifics that are not included.
Update spaces.
I would say pass on those. Don't vote on them. I don't know enough to vote on them.
Well, I'm going to go check out El Paso Matters.
So are you saying
and I'm going to look at
citizens shouldn't vote then?
No. You can go vote on things that matter to you, like mayor or president. You're going to be there voting. These bond issues, you can turn in an incomplete ballot. You don't have to vote. I don't know who's going to make a better railroad
or vote
commissioner.
No.
You know what I mean? How do I know who's going to be a better railroad commissioner? I don't.
I'm with Buzz, though, in the sense that if I see two names that I don't recognize, I don't just pick one. I will vote. I will skip that one and then go to the next one.
Yeah. Totally responsible. In fact, the most responsible position a voter could take.
Yeah.
I think.
I just think some things sound important, some things don't. Go with your gut.
All right, give me the Abercrombie and Fitch story.
Sure.
Cappy, I'm sorry, man.
Don't apologize.
We'll do sports as soon as we come back.
Do you have to get to the sales right now?
No, there's no meeting today.
Good. They do too many meetings. You guys are meeting when you should be out selling.
Yeah. Would you tell that to our boss, please?
Got so many meetings.
Would you please tell, next time you guys are on the golf course together, can you tell them that?
Sure. Not so many meetings, more selling.
There you go. That's right.
Well, Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, was arrested along with two others yesterday as part of a federal sex trafficking investigation. Jeffries, his partner Matt Smith, and Jim Jacobson are accused of allegedly operating an international sex trafficking and prostitution business that recruited young men for parties in the U.S. and overseas. Federal prosecutors allege the three men paid dozens of men to travel around the world to engage in sex acts over a 7-year period. The indictment mentions 15 alleged victims, but prosecutors believe there are many more. Now, I thought this was interesting because Joanna probably really remembers. Remember Abercrombie and Fitch used to have like the pictures of, she can't hear me. Steve knows too. The pictures of young hot men and women, but mostly men.
Mostly kids. I mean,
young.
And I say kids like 18,
teenagers.
19?
Yeah, they're teenagers. And pretty much naked.
Yeah. Without a shirt on lots of times.
No, for the catalog, they were pretty much
I thought
naked.
you meant the images inside an Abercrombie and Fitch.
Abercrombie was the topless.
I quit going to Abercrombie and Fitch when I realized I had aged out of that. Totally.
Joanna, we're talking about Abercrombie and Fitch. Do you remember all the nakedness in the Abercrombie catalog and stuff?
Yeah. Didn't the guys used to be shirtless in the store also?
And yeah. I forgot the workers. The workers did.
Workers,
the workers had to be shirtless in the store
sometimes.
Look at Steve's face.
It wasn't all the time.
I want to tell you,
this
there was a thing about this guy. He was like 40 when he was the CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, but he had done plastic surgery trying to make himself look 20, and it did not work. I mean, it looked so he's got that going on for him. Also, they don't carry anything larger than a large at Abercrombie and Fitch. Mark Jeffries was like, we don't want fat or unattractive people seen in our
really?
Yeah, he absolutely did.
Wow.
And I guess my final story is the tragic passing of Dodgers icon Fernando Valenzuela.
Let's talk about the great Fernando Valenzuela. Nobody's sure what year he was actually born.
Former Los Angeles Dodgers
1960.
Former Los Angeles Dodgers star pitcher Fernando Valenzuela, who changed Major League Baseball by sparking Fernando Mania in the early 80s, has died at the age of 63.
And that was the Valenzuela era was when the last time the Yankees and the Dodgers played in a World Series game.
1981, that's correct.
Yeah.
That was his rookie season. That's right. And he had the screwball back in those days. Remember when the screwball was a big deal and Fernando could throw the screwball better than anybody?
Is that the one that actually twists in the air?
Yeah.
And is it thrown in a weird way?
The amount of pressure you have to put on your arm, yes. That's why you don't see screwballs anymore, because it's very difficult for pitchers to throw it and not
Listen,
get hurt.
I got a couple audio here because he definitely deserves it.
Without
Fernando
a doubt.
Valenzuela. Too bad he couldn't have been around to watch this World Series. You know? Here is a tribute that Major League Baseball posted.
There are the great characters produced in sports, and this season's great character is a young fellow named Fernando Valenzuela, who has produced a kind of baseball fever known as Fernando Mania.
It's a fairy tale so preposterous, Dodger fans dare not open their eyes.
Vin Scully.
El Nino is Fernando Valenzuela.
Perhaps such early season hysteria could only be born in Hollywood.
Mel Allen.
What else can be said but Viva Valenzuela?
Who was that?
Mel Allen.
Yeah, that was Mel Allen.
That's right.
The other guy was Vin Scully.
That's right.
delivers screwball, got him swinging. What a way to start. Fernando Valenzuela in his first big league start. This is a shutout. Popped in the air, fouled, and Fernando has his fifth shutout. Unbelievable.
I like those old timey baseball announcers.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
I think
They
that
really
last
had a
one
style.
was. I think that last one was Jerry Coleman, who was another classic. You know what's
Mel
the great
Allen.
thing? I got to interview them all. I interviewed
Mel
Vince,
Allen?
No, I
Vince?
didn't get him. I had Jerry Coleman. I didn't have Mel Allen. I had Vin
I
Scully.
met Mel Allen.
Did you
when I
really?
was a kid?
Really?
At a Rangers game.
I didn't know that.
I
That's a
sure
great
did.
story.
My dad's cousin, so my second cousin,
Mm-hmm.
more of an uncle really, was a cameraman for one of the TV stations that carried the Rangers. So I got to go up in the broadcast booth. So Norm Hitchkus, Merle Norman was there.
Wow, that's a good name.
And then my uncle Mikey Joe said, "You want to meet
Mel Allen.
Mel Allen."
And if
He's
you
right next-
don't break, Joanna's going to murder you.
We got a break. By the way, I see a phone call on hold. I just want to assure you, John, we're going to come back. If you hang on and take your call about the Coliseum first thing when we come back in just a few moments.
I'm Daniel Paulus, and whether you're wrapping up your workday on .me to get % off your first purchase today. LUMEN.ME, promo code Radio 70.
The Buzz Adams Morning Show, Monday through Friday, 5 to 10. KLAQ and KLAQ HD1, El Paso, a town square media station.
I'm going to talk to John first because I said it's the first thing we're going to do. Then I have a very important message for you about cabinets made in Mexico. Hello, John.
Yes, sir.
Dude, thank you so much for hanging on.
Yeah,
It's
thanks, man.
Really, really dedicated.
I love you guys. And Buzz, Joe, Joanna, Nico.
Great.
Thanks.
I've been listening for 15, 30 years, you know. But about that Coliseum, heck, you guys still got me on there?
No, we're listening.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, great. I used to go. I'm still, just to start off real quick. I'm 54 years old, and I've been going to that Coliseum since I was 15. I watched every Iron Maiden show there.
A lot of memories in that old building.
Oh yeah, and when Iron Maiden plays, they were the loudest in the world, and those ceiling tiles were always falling down.
The what were falling down?
Ceiling tiles.
The ceiling tiles.
It's called blowing the roof off the joint.
There you go. Would you like me to give you the full details of the $104 million County Coliseum renovation and modernization?
Well, I'm kind of curious though. What did you call in for? What was the thing you wanted to say, John?
Just to let you know that building is old and it's beautiful and
nostalgia.
It's nostalgia.
Oh,
it's
okay.
nostalgia. It's absolutely beautiful.
Leave it the way it is with all its warts and flaws and everything else.
That's what makes it special.
Okay. All right. Thank you, John. I appreciate you holding.
And the old.
Yeah, you know what? We've got a real spotty call here, John. And I know you waited so long, but it's in and out, man.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, John.
I really wanted to know if he was for the taxes or not.
I don't know. It sounds like not.
So here's what it is, okay? Let me give you the full details on this is courtesy of El Paso Matters, okay? $104.2 million in improvements to the Coliseum and its adjacent buildings.
So that would be the equestrian center, which is now the
barn.
Let me give you the full details.
The barn
okay?
the barn is the Coliseum.
If I could explain it all, you'll get everything. I promise you. Here we go. Renovated seating, improve ADA accessibility, new air conditioning system, new roofing, renovating the Sherman Barn into an event and music venue, reconstruct roller rink into open air pavilion, improve parking lot, pedestrian connectivity, lighting, and more.
Question.
Yeah.
There's a roller rink?
You don't know that. Well, you guys know that we have roller derby here.
Yeah,
that's
but
where
they don't have a rink.
Yeah,
it's not like
they
did
put
they
in,
finally.
They put in their ring. They do. Yeah. Roller derby is really awesome.
They don't
here.
just play on a flat surface.
No,
they've actually. Steve, is that right?
That's right. And they want to make it an open air pavilion.
Well, and the reason I know this, Vicky from our app chat says that the barn at the Coliseum needs renovated because we borderline roller derby girls are really suffering in there, and we want it as comfortable as possible for all of our games.
Yes.
I agree, though, and I can kind of see, though, you might have a bias as a sports guy, Steve, why you would want a really nice Coliseum. I think the animal shelter and the medical examiner's office and the county courthouse, I mean, they all seem like more important entities than a Coliseum does.
I don't care about the Coliseum. I mean, honestly, are they still going to put on shows there and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
I don't care.
Now, let me say this. As far as, now, here's another thing, okay? Parks and Rec.
Yeah, that's Prop
This
A.
is almost the same amount of money, $95.6 million, okay? And they want to improve, expand, and upgrade county parks, including new outage stage, covered pavilion, picnic shelters, and walking trail at Escalante Park, new administrative offices at Escalante to house Parks Department and others, hiking and walking trails at Westway and Sparks Park, upgrade to field lights at El Paso County Sports Park, and various upgrades and improvements to veterans and other parks in Fabens, Coyote Park in Tornillo, Gallegos Park in Canutillo, Sparks Park in Sparks, Ruben Estrella Park by Homestead Meadows, and others. Yes.
I get it. I get it.
The medical
There's a lot
examiner.
of different things. We don't have to do every detail, Steve.
No, the medical
I don't want to do
But
every
I'm kind of
detail.
curious, what does the medical examiner need?
$26.7 million to build a new medical examiner's office in a yet-to-be-determined location to provide forensic scene investigation and pathology and morgue services.
Yeah, it's super important. And I also know the old medical examiner's office, and it's been real shoddy for a long time.
So
hold on real quick. I'm sorry. I know you're getting into the tax thing. Hold on. I'm just bringing up some app chat messages that I think will go to the call that you're about to play right now. Okay. Can from our app chat is saying your conversation is dumb. Just a few days ago, you guys said that El Paso property tax is the highest in the entire state.
Renard Johnson
was
said
here.
that.
And here
I
we
didn't
are.
say that. Renard said
and
that.
here we are contemplating making it even higher. I couldn't agree more. I think that he's right.
As a homeowner, I've got a good take on this. You want to hear?
Sure.
Okay. When we had the high property taxes and the low home estimates and valuations, I thought, okay, there's your
That's worth
trade-off.
it, right.
You know what? We got the highest property taxes, but our homes are very undervalued, so it all kind of works its way out. In the last, I would say, 6-7 years, the value of our homes every year from the Central Appraisal District continues to just jump up big time. They
Large raises?
Oh, huge raises. And the property taxes are still crazy. So to me, we got to pick one in El Paso.
This is a recurring theme from some of the calls that we've been
I
getting.
voted no because basically what that means is raise taxes. We're overtaxed here in El Paso, Texas, so I voted no on everything.
Yeah. That
makes sense.
Sure. That's a logical attitude to have. Whether I agree with it or not is another question.
There has to be a way for El Paso to become and continue to grow and be more progressive without making all the taxpayers have to essentially shoulder the burden to where we become one of the most expensive places to live in the state of Texas.
And simultaneously one of the poorest of a city of its size.
That's true, too.
Mosho, Edgar here. To be quite honest with you, getting back to that voting for bonds and all that stuff, I don't think El Pasoans should vote for any more bonds until city officials can figure out what to do with all the taxes that we already pay for.
Mm-hmm.
How many times is the city government going to prove that they're not capable of managing the money that these hard-earned, these El Paso residents pay year after year?
Brother, I hear you.
How about we fix that first before we start asking for a little bit more money?
Yeah, no, listen, that totally makes sense. It's not very nuanced, but we're already paying a lot of taxes. Are you guys responsibly managing the taxes we do pay?
You know what would be nice is if city council and the mayor's office like made or created like a roadmap, like El Paso's road to 2067 or whatever, and just kind of gave everybody an idea of what things they thought were going to be necessary.
Here is Luis in a live call. Hello, Luis.
Hey, what's going on, man? As far as this whole thing with the County Coliseum, I understand the nostalgia behind it and whatnot, but, you know, tear it down.
Tear down the
Start over. Let's just start over.
Start over, you know, and you know, and Steve, I mean, you can relate to it. It's like Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium. You know, it you know, the house that Ruth built and whatnot. Many memories there, and one day Wrigley Field might be in that same position. One day Fenway Park might be there.
Not Fenway.
Day,
yeah.
You know, and as a Dodger fan, one day Dodger Stadium might have to see that, you know, come to fruition, you know. But at the end of the day, basically what they're doing with all these quote-unquote renovations to the Coliseum is they're just basically putting Band-Aids on gunshot wounds. That's all they're doing. Let's just tear the whole thing down and start from scratch.
Luis, am I putting you down for a no vote on the bond proposition?
You know what? I don't pay property taxes because I'm a disabled veteran. Okay.
You're a gigolo? You're a what?
A disabled veteran.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood what you were saying. I'm sorry, Luis.
I mean, he could be both.
No.
He could be. Yeah, sure. You could be. No judgment.
And I agree with what one caller said. You know what? Before we start, you know, proposing all these other bonds, why doesn't both the city and the county come out and say, hey, you know what? Look, this is what we're doing with the money.
Mm-hmm.
This is how much is left after everything gets paid and whatnot, and this is what we need the money for. Now, you know, when it comes to these other things, unlike, you know, with the sports arena that they wanted to build, you know, and actually get it done and not sit here and bicker and argue like two schoolgirls in a schoolyard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's get done what we got to get done. You know, the sad thing about it is the people of El Paso have this mentality of let's get what we can and can what we get.
Well, I think it's nice to have nice things, especially as like a new city, an updated city with a sports park. That feels awesome.
Think about this, and Luis, I want your thoughts on this. We played some calls from people who are like, we're already overtaxed. I'm not voting for any new taxes, no matter what it's for. But there's probably a lot of people out there that's like, I vote yes on everything. You know, if it's a proposal and it's for something to improve the city.
That's true. That is true.
You know,
well, yeah. I mean, you know, because without progress, you know, we're not going to get anywhere without any form of progression. You know, and unfortunately, a lot of, case in point, the Coliseum, a lot of El Paso's facilities, you know, they get overlooked, and they just fall apart. You know, they get to the point where it's like, you know what? Okay, you know, we can't fix it anymore, so now we have to basically start from scratch all over again.
All right, Luis, thank you for the call.
Yeah.
Very good
No
call.
problem.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your service as a veteran, not as a gigolo. All right. Thank you, Luis.
Cool.
All right.
Services. I mean,
here's the one
Don
thing,
Haskins in the same position.
Well,
it's
listen.
part of it. You know,
They all need renovations.
Yeah, but it's the
Here's-
University of Texas system.
That's the thing. The city and the county have no jurisdiction over the Haskins Center. That's essentially
If
the
you want
university.
improvements to the Haskins Center, talk to the Board of Regents of the University of Texas.
And they're not going to do it. They will not allow a dime to be spent on facilities. So that has to be raised around the city, and whether it's donors or businesses, somebody's got to raise it.
When I go to the Sun Bowl, it seems like they've done a lot of renovations in the past 5 to 10 years.
They have, but the infrastructure is the problem right now. The concrete is cracking, and the foundation is what they're worried about. They're not worried about the seating and everything else. They're worried about the foundation of a stadium that was built in 1961 that has never had the reinforcements to the. I'm sorry about that. To the infrastructure.
That's okay.
Hey, Buzz.
My apologies.
Hey, not voting is still, if you leave it blank, it's still a no vote.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. On these propositions,
they don't record the no votes, dude.
It's not like which gets more, yes or no.
No, it's just about the yes.
I wish somebody would have told me that 30 years ago.
You didn't know that?
Nope.
You didn't know that it's just by the number of yes votes that you get?
I don't think I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Is it always that way on bond propositions?
All voting, it's the yes that matters. It's not the no that matters.
Wait a minute.
It's the
what are
thing
saying?
you vote for that matters.
Do they compile the number of votes and say there were more yays than nays?
No.
They don't?
No.
That's news to me. Steve, is it news to you?
So you're saying that if there's, let's say you're saying that if there's 20,000 total votes.
Don't pretend like everybody knows this.
If there's 20,000 total votes, that's all you need. That's the number.
If we get 20,000 yeses, it passes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If there's
a
majority of people who vote for it, then yes.
Oh, so it is. They count yeses versus nos. Do you know what you're talking about?
Yes.
No, be honest, because I'm telling you I don't know.
Yes.
So they don't count the no votes. True?
Or if you don't vote, it's basically a no vote.
No. It's not.
Yeah, because you're not voting on the
a no
issue.
vote goes into the tally. A yes vote goes into the tally, unless you're telling me
If you're saying that you would be willing to say, I'm going to put my trust in the other voters, so that if I leave it blank, other people can vote on this.
I leave a lot of things blank. If I don't have a handle or a grasp
then you just
on
put it in the hands of other people.
Okay. Are you telling me that it's like if we get 20,000 yes votes, the bond passes?
Steve, they've been doing this all
Oh my
morning.
God, Nico!
All
Now
morning.
I think you're doubting yourself.
No,
Right?
it's a majority. So yes, it's going to be a who voted yes, who voted no.
Yeah.
Sure.
A non-vote is not a no. Is not equivalent to a no vote under those conditions.
I mean, it could be.
You know, I hear some of these Republicans who are like, I'm not going to vote for Trump, but I can't bring myself to vote for Kamala Harris. Well, you know.
That's basically a vote for Trump.
No, that's a null vote, but it's one that could have been going towards your candidate if you felt strongly enough about it. But just so I'm clear, it's not like if this bond gets 20,000 yeses, it passes no matter how many no's.
No, you have to count the no's.
Okay, thank you, because that sounded really, really confusing. All right, what was that, Joanna? Got to take a break?
Yes.
But not before I tell you about wonderful cabinets made in Mexico. Do you need kitchen cabinets? Do you need a new look for your kitchen? Cabinets Made in Mexico makes and installs kitchen cabinets made in Mexico and delivered and installed on this side of the border. Check out cabinetsmadeinmexico.com. That's cabinetsmadeinmexico.com. Quality cabinets installed at your house at Mexico prices. Call today, 915-234-4999, 915-234-4999.
Find out what's going on. Quirky facts about our region. Urgent things you need to know impacting your drive. And of course, nothing but El Paso's best rock.
Tacos, or try one of our. With 15 locations, we're open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Make Jack in the Box your go-to for every game.
It's fall. Leaves change color. Temperatures cool. It's the perfect time to
Wake up, El Paso. Buzz Adams is back.
You are kidding me.
Only on KLAQ.
I'm a big, stupid jerk.
I'm a pain in your... You know what? Before we get to your sports, which has technically already started, okay? We're on the clock right now, but...
Corrections and retractions.
Buzz, I'm sorry. I need to explain my yes/no vote. There are a lot of people that are registered. If me as a person says I am not going to vote, you're voting for the opposite.
No.
That is not correct.
No, that's not correct.
Well, yeah. So
here's another call. This is the one I meant to play. So I wanted to play one that I think is pretty close to correct.
Yes, what Nico is saying is 1,000,000% wrong. It is the number of yes votes versus the number of no votes.
That's what I thought.
Any votes that are not cast, known as undervotes, are not part of the equation.
Right.
If 100 people show up to vote and 11 people voted yes, and 10 people voted no, and 88 people left it blank, it's only the 11 yes votes versus the 10 no votes.
That is a brilliant explanation of that. I almost think this guy must be a local election worker.
My point was that you're letting...
Or just smarter than me.
You're letting those 11 people decide whether or not...
Good.
Or there's 20... You're letting those 21 people, excuse me, the 10 and the 11.
And I'm
voted.
comfortable with that.
But it comes back to the same thing, Nico. If there is a particular either candidates or a bond issue or something that you really don't know the answer to,
if you don't know the answer to,
how do you
then
vote yes or no on that?
But then you can't complain about what gets passed or what doesn't get passed.
That is correct. I agree with that too. But the thing is this.
I'm comfortable. I'll live with that.
Let me just say this again, and I just want to. I'm going to give Bob Moore a plug because
Bob texted us. By the way,
yes.
Excuse me.
My God!
I'm just very enthusiatic.
Can you not tell depth perception?
Not when I'm worked up like this. Not when I'm in a lather. Okay. El Paso Matters is such an important and reliable source of information in El Paso. And what Bob Moore does over there, I'm going to write a check. Because it's free.
Yes.
And I would encourage everybody else to do so because
Why don't you just get a subscription?
Because it's free.
Yeah, you can't subscribe to something that's free, but they do accept donations.
Yeah,
that is
right.
correct.
Okay, there you go.
So you can, if you would like to just, help support Bob. By the way, and
it's
here's
something
the
I
thing.
really, really strongly believe in.
They've got a voter's guide on the website, and they explain everything.
So what did Bob say?
Everything. So Bob had a very simple explanation. And Bob said, just like your caller, if you decide not to vote on something, it's the same as never showing up to vote.
Yeah.
It's just null.
Right.
Right.
And that's correct.
Geddy Lee said, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Actually, Neil Peart said that. No? Nothing?
That
sounds vaguely familiar.
And that sounds philosophical and correct, and I would agree with you. And you know what, Buzz? I'm man enough to say when I'm wrong about something.
Is that the way you thought voting worked?
I was wrong.
I thought I was having I thought I was having a mental breakdown.
I want you to look at this. This is called being able to accept when you're wrong.
But you're so condescending when you do it.
With these two.
No kidding.
Can I
You're
ask
just
you
so.
guys-
You think that they count up the votes for the? What's
All morning, Steve.
Wait, you guys have spent 3.5 hours on this today?
No. On everything.
No, but they've just been
everything. We
bickering all
bickered.
morning.
Yeah,
Oh, my
like
God.
a couple of people in an old folks home.
Like a couple.
Yeah.
Who's lived together too long.
Also, apparently, I have a
divorce.
Nope. I have a good case for a common law marriage because Buzz refers to me as babe. So
He tells you to come back to bed.
yeah. So I actually have a few of the categories in common
You know
law.
what?
Does that mean you get half?
I get half.
I'm going to tell Melinda that you are
Shut
the
up.
one stoking this fire.
Hey, we are getting mad over tax, but I mean, for the county coliseum, they're losing out on a big investment opportunity, which is they could turn it into a spirit Halloween or spirit Christmas.
Yeah, hey.
Store warehouse.
You hear that, Joanna?
For the off seasons when there's no Halloween stuff going on, and just use all that profit to renovate it. I mean, adapt and overcome.
Okay, there you go.
Okay,
just
listen.
use it for the central distribution center for all Spirit Halloween stores. The rest of the year.
Let me
Or
say-
turn,
let me-
turn it into a mega Halloween.
So
store.
let me throw a couple things about the Coliseum real quick.
I love the
okay,
Coliseum.
couple things.
Well, hold on. Just there was an updated voter guidance because according, apparently Proposition A regarding the multi-purpose center downtown was written confusingly. So they gave some guidance on what it means.
I'm going to admit, they're all confusing to me.
Well, the proposition looks like a paragraph, but it's one sentence. The voter has two choices, for or against. If you vote for, this means you do not want city council to act on the previous vote. You want the MPC downtown project for the 2012 election canceled. If you vote against, this means you are giving the city council the right to go ahead with the project and spend the remaining $120 million.
It's like you know what it
nobody
is?
can follow
This is like-
that.
This is like opposite day. It's like opposite day.
I
because
think
now
we brought this up earlier, and you agreed. I think they don't want the electorate to participate in
make
a
it
lot
confusing.
of these. They make it.
Yeah.
This can't be accidental. They have to be this level of confusion. They have to
So-
be doing it on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So yes. So here's the deal about it is kind of crazy because remember
that's disheartening.
There is apparently $128,455,000. No wait, I'm sorry, $128,455,636 is how it works, right? So $128,455,636 in general obligation bonds for the multi-purpose performing arts and entertainment facility to be issued. That's the remaining amount. Okay, so the way it works is that if you vote for the proposition, that means that the city can no longer borrow the remainder of the funds to build the multi-purpose facility commonly known as the arena.
I'm 100% lost. I am 100%
That's why they gave out this
lost on
guidance. That's why they gave out the guidance.
Yeah, but I'm lost on the guidance.
You've been lost for a lot of the guidance.
So if you vote against the proposition, that means the city can move forward with borrowing the remaining funds to build the arena.
Okay.
What I don't understand is why this has become as confusing as it is. So, yes.
Right. Why do you guys make it that confusing unless you're doing it intentionally?
The Buzz Adams Morning Show presents Go Sports Go. Brought to you by the Viva Auto Group. Viva makes it happen.
They sure do. And here's Steve Kaplowitz talking sports with us today. Hello, Cappy.
Oh, my
We've been
God.
here for a long time. You've got to put your phone away. You're not going to be able to do this. And I am telling you, I can understand why people would just throw their hands up in frustration over some of these.
I know.
All right. What's up, Cappy? Did you you see that display of nepotism on television for everybody last night?
The LeBron show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Disgraceful, right?
Please. I mean, it was a show, is what it is. This is what LeBron always wanted, chance to play with his son.
How about if you were the guy who didn't make the 11th man? You're the 12th guy, and you got cut, and LeBron's got your spot.
You probably understand. I get it.
I mean, Bronny's got your spot? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Is there any rationale other than he's LeBron James' son for him being, at this point in his career, on an NBA floor?
Well, wait, you're telling me he not professional basketball level skill?
Professional, like D-League, NBA D-League or something?
The G League?
In Europe, Australia?
No, he should be in college. He should be a sophomore in college and try to build on his freshman career.
He's not
which
ready
was
for this. And the fact that
of course
LeBron's
not.
willing to do it is just tacky and
does it make you
distasteful.
like him less?
It makes me like
LeBron less.
Yeah, it makes me like the Lakers organization less.
Oh,
because they all went along with it. You are complicit in the most egregious kind of nepotism I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. But it was a story last night. Lakers beat up on Minnesota, and then the Jameses played together. And Bronny didn't score, which, by the way, I mean, they should stop the game when he scores his first points because that's going to be a big deal since we don't know if he's going to score at all this season.
My God.
I mean, just give him the basketball, right? Let's just stop the game, present him the basketball, and say, "Here you go, Bronny. Now go back to the G League. Go, get your game going, and then you can come back and join the Lakers when you're ready."
Okay.
Listen, I got other things to worry about besides Bronny, and I got other things. Like the Knicks got blown out last night by the Celtics. The Knicks looked awful. They have no defense. They were just destroyed by Boston.
Your poor New York
This
teams.
has been the crappiest of weeks for my New York teams. Think about this. The Mets season is over. The Jets continue to suck. The Knicks lost to the Celtics. I'm not a Yankees fan anymore. I haven't been a Yankees fan since Thurman Munson died in a plane crash and they got rid of Reggie Jackson to the Angels. That's the last time I was actually a Yankee fan. I was a Yankee fan as a kid. Hard to grow up in New York in the late 70s and not be a Yankee fan because they took over New York at that point. They really did. So, but yes, it's been a very rough week for me as a New York sports fan. And rough night last night for the Miners. They lost to Louisiana Tech 14-10. Did you see what happened to Skylar Locklear, their starting quarterback?
I did not.
Oh, my God. Buzz, I've seen targeting before. This was, without a doubt, the worst targeting hit on a quarterback I think I've ever seen.
Can you just explain? Can you just explain targeting?
Yeah, targeting is essentially when you hit somebody either helmet to helmet or you launch yourself like a projectile at a defenseless player. Now, let me show you what this looked like last night during the UTEP game. Check this out, Buzz. That was Skylar Locklear right there. And watch what happens when he gets hit. Now, you're going to see the player from Louisiana Tech leave his feet and essentially launch himself at Skyler, who goes backwards and then lands his head first on the field.
Roll the tape.
Massive concussion. And this was, again, you'll see it again. You'll see the replays. Okay. Hang on. Let me show you real quick. You're going to see. Now, don't look at that shot. That's the shot from the back of the stadium. But look at this right here where you'll see Locklear, who gets absolutely drilled during a play.
How long had the ball been out of his hands?
Well, it just, he wasn't.
Play it again?
You saw that again. Okay, so look. Point is,
did the player get ejected?
He just had thrown it. They did. They ejected him for targeting.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
but massive concussion.
Massive concussion. Here, you can just hit play yourself on that and go watch that tape and
see.
Hey
Siri, play video.
No, don't do that. Just hit the play button. Genius. And then he says, look at this. He's already trying to hold it and see.
I like how he holds it with two fingers and each hand like
that is a horrible hit on Locklear. And then the Miners played a freshman quarterback named J.P. Pickles last night. Pickles. Yes. By the way,
Tommy Pickles' brother.
A lot of people are saying that there should be here. Watch this real quick, Nico. Watch this hit right here on Locklear, and you can see what happens with his head when he gets drilled.
Would that have been called 20 years ago?
Well, probably.
So
probably not, right?
So you're telling. I don't really know anything about football, Steve, but you're telling me
he tackled him meanly.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Are you telling me that they teach them?
The kid, of course.
They teach them. When you tackle, you don't put your head down forward.
You're not supposed to lean with your head, number one, and then you're not supposed to leave your feet and launch yourself as a projectile against a defenseless player. Like he had just thrown the ball, right? He had just thrown the ball and was susceptible to a hit, and this guy kind of leaves his feet, hits him to the point where Locklear
his head snapped back
concussed, doesn't remember the play, had to leave the game.
Scary.
Very scary. Very, very
but
scary.
But it did not go without repercussions. I mean, they got the penalty player for Louisiana.
They did.
Ejected.
They did. And they also
might even be further penalties, maybe?
There could be a suspension. They knocked the UTEP quarterback out of the game. In came J.P. Pickles, who played the rest of the game for the Miners, but could not get the offense going, and UTEP ended up losing.
What happened to our boy?
Cade?
Yeah.
Oh, Cade's got Cade has a wrist injury that's going to require surgery.
Tell me more about Pickles because I love him now.
Yes.
What are his parents named? Stu?
He is from Florida, by the way. J.P. Pickles is from Florida and is somebody that, the Miners believe can handle the offense right now, along with Shea Smith, who's Paul Smith's son, who was playing last year at Franklin. So, by the way, there's the hits that you see there. You got it right there. And that is just a how do you prepare yourself when you can even see the way the player for Louisiana Tech launched himself and how Locklear hits his head after landing. It was ugly.
I don't know.
Guys.
It's a contact sport, and we're talking about milliseconds or less than a second here. Yeah. I think look, if that hit had occurred in a high school football game when I was in high school, the crowd would have gone wild. They'd have loved it.
Yeah, but the game is different today. You get the brain injuries and all that stuff.
Yeah, I understand
my God.
No, Buzz was right, though. What's the big deal with Pickles?
His last name, Pickles.
Oh, but
by the way, some people believe that he should now get NIL deals.
He is a classic player.
What's his bread and butter?
Butter pickles. Is that
No, that's pretty good though. I like that.
Is he sweet?
No, he's a sweet pickle. You know what? Somebody told me he's kosher. So anyway, the Miners lose 14-10. They'll be back at home a week from Saturday afternoon when they take on Middle Tennessee. That'll also be the 20-year reunion of the 2004 team that won 8 games and went to a bowl. Jordan Palmer is going to be back in town, and Mike Price and other members of the 04-05. Excuse me. 04.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You're not taking some blood thinner or anything.
That was a cough.
Hey, you don't want to hear LeBron talk to Bronny?
To Bronny?
Like right before they went in the game?
What do you say? Don't shoot?
I don't know. They were mic'd up.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to guess he said, you have no right to be here.
Well, let's find out.
All ready? All right. You see the intensity, right? Just play carefree, though. What about mistakes? Just go out and play hard.
And here is the call as LeBron James enters the game with his son.
History tonight. The first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game.
Yeah, I mean, that is cool. I like that. You know, listen,
I don't.
Well, I mean, listen, we all know why Bronny is in the NBA right now. We get that. It's different than
Can he hold a ball and is he tall? That's all you need.
He's
not as tall as
about
LeBron.
as tall, maybe an inch taller than you. His dad towers over him.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, that's not tall for basketball.
Steve,
that's short for basketball.
To be clear, once again, other than being the son of LeBron James, at this point in his career, Bronny would not be on a court for an NBA team during a regular season.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
100%.
100%.
How's that not nepotism?
I know.
All right,
What
what else? We got to wrap things up here real quick.
We are good. Thank you, guys. That was a good sportscast. We had a lot to talk about, a lot of the voting interests. Excellent. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
All right. Thanks, Cappy.
Hey, it's Double G. Coming up after the Buzz Adams Morning Show.
And save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Live from the KLAQ studios, the Buzz Adams Morning Show. Courtesy of Glasheen, Vyas, and Inderman Personal Injury Lawyers at GVILaw.com.
All right, we don't have enough time for Joanna's Hollywood Cheesemate.
We have very little time.
But I would be remiss if I didn't point out that Joanna Barb, the Queen of Halloween, is wearing the most amazing Halloween sweater. It's on, y'all. It's on.
Oh, he finally noticed.
He finally noticed my cool sweater.
She does look nice.
That is going 100% out.
Isn't it nice? I got it on sale.
Where'd you get it online?
Hot Topic.
Of course.
Well, I think it's awesome. Is it comfortable?
Are you gonna get witchier as the holiday approaches?
Expect chaos next week.
Hey, I got to give a big shout out to our fan chat. That's the one that's on Facebook where we have the most amazing fans, and
hello, Facebook chatters.
Our Facebook chatters, and Stephanie just gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. So congratulations!
She's so cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Birthday shout out.
And my former coworker and my current comedian friend, Adrian Monroy, who is a nurse, wanted me to talk about the UMC bond proposal. Hey, we'll do that tomorrow, buddy.
Right. I feel like we're really up to our ears in bond proposals, but
too much.
tomorrow we're gonna take some time and talk about the
Maybe
UMC
we'll read
bond
them.
proposal. I've got a couple of calls from the listeners. The listeners are basically saying the same thing about my commentary of LeBron and Bronny, but independently of each other.
Buzz, Gravy here again. I'm just listening in. I don't usually get to catch you because I'm usually out of town for work. I know I can listen to you out of town, but, just crazy schedule.
I understand.
But I'm hearing you talking about LeBron James and Bronny and talking about the most blatant example of nepotism. Now, the only reason why I agree with what LeBron's doing with his son, even though he's not qualified to be in the NBA, I could agree with that 100%, is because you look at these owners. You look at Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. You look at Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft. You look at the entire Chiefs organization. Nepotism's there. And I think if a player does it, I think it's pretty damn cool. First time it's ever happening in the NBA. LeBron has the celebrity power to do that. The Lakers are making a lot of money off of it. They see it for what it is, and I'm all for it. I hope that changes your mind a little bit. Gravy out.
I appreciate it, Gravy. And I think
maybe it's a cool thing because he's kind of sticking it to the man.
I'll address this, but I want to play this other call completely independent from the other one, and I think you'll recognize the voice.
Buzz, I don't understand why you're so worked up about Bronny. I mean, after all, the owner of the Lakers is a Nepo baby. So really, it seems like, if anything, it runs throughout the entire lifeline of the franchise. Remember, Jeannie Buss did nothing to own the Lakers but be born the daughter of Jerry Buss. So it's part of their nature.
Okay. I guess it's so expected in the world of business that you don't even think of it as nepotism.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just normal for rich
that's
people.
That's interesting. So the guy's son was the most qualified person to be vice president of the team. That's interesting that he beat out all those other candidates for the job. You know what I mean?
Well, you watch Succession.
I know, but you just expect that to happen so much that it doesn't even register to me until
in sports.
Until
it doesn't register that it happens in sports.
This is sports, the business side of it,
right?
Though. You know, when you're talking about the owners, you know. But it's so normalized, I don't even think of it as a nepo thing until it's pointed out to me by the college.
That's why I never understood what people were...
Is that going to be a thing going forward? If you got a player who's got a college-age kid that...
they get to do it.
Hey, LeBron did it, so my kid should get to play.
Right.
I don't know. No, it's an interesting... it is an interesting perspective. Yeah, why aren't you upset about the owners who just pass off the ownership of the team to their kids? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. It's just not what I'm thinking about. You know, you can run a team, you can run it well, or you could mismanage it, but it's all out there on the court, man. If you're playing in the NBA and you really don't belong there, it is gonna. I think it's gonna end up being kind of humiliating and a negative thing for
That's a
LeBron,
really
for
good
Bronny.
point. That is a really good point because I was thinking of it as, well, what's the difference between a basketball executive who has schooling for it versus the son or daughter of these people?
20 million people don't tune in to watch the board meeting that's going, you know what I mean?
Exactly. But no, the point that you made is that the game itself, there's an intrinsic skill necessary. It's not something you could just learn on the job. You can't just go to a seminar or a workshop to learn this stuff. To be on the court, you need to have skill.
And if you don't have that skill,
you don't have it.
Even if your daddy's out there on the court with you, he's not going to be able to cover it up. I just think it's kind of distasteful, I guess, in some way.
Lost Cherry, Tom Ford's new $255 perfume, is being compared to embalming fluid because it contains benzaldehyde, the same chemical used during the embalming process, and which incidentally is also used in food to create an almond or a cherry taste. Yummers. I'll be sure to incorporate that into my new cookbook. Does this taste like Nana's funeral?
Peloton is partnering with Costco to sell their bike as they look to reach new customers. Ooh. Costco's got food, furniture, and exercise bikes. I mean, they're pretty much a USA Today away from being a Marriott.
Coca-Cola has issued a recall for 13,000 cases of Minute Maid lemonade because they're mislabeled, specifically contains lemons.
In his new memoir, Al Pacino says he'll forever be haunted by a childhood injury to his penis, while the rest of us will be forever haunted by that headline.
What did I miss?
Oh, I can't believe I missed it.
Did you miss the Buzz Adams Morning Show today?
I missed everything.
Just use the KLAQ mobile app. That way you can listen to Buzz on demand.